Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Ryan. I got a great show for you here today between the Minnesota Twins and the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in just about a minute or two. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into these starting lineups. Happy Sunday, everyone. Minnesota's very own Trevor Larnach, and on the right, one of the best center fielders in the game, it's Julio Rodriguez. Now let's quickly get into the starting lineups for both teams. Leading off for the Twins, left fielder Trevor Larnach. Batting second, catching for the Twins, Ryan Jeffers. Batting third, DHing for Minnesota, Josh Bell. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, second baseman Cody Clemens. Batting fifth, first baseman Royce Lewis. Batting sixth, third baseman Brooks Lee. Batting seventh, right fielder Alan Rowden. Batting eighth, center fielder Luke Keeschel. And batting ninth, shortstop Ryan Kreidler. And on the mound for the Twins, 9-4 record, ERA of 3.65, Taj Bradley. And now for the home Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at second base, Cole Clutch Young. Batting second, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting third, DHing the Italian stallion Dominic Canzone. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Batting fifth, first baseman it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting sixth, catching today for Seattle, big dumper Cal Raleigh. Batting seventh, right fielder Victor Robles. Batting eighth, shortstop Colt Emerson. And batting ninth, third baseman Leo Rivas. And on the mound with an 8-9 record, ERA of 3.98, it is George Kirby. And we obviously know about the trade that happened yesterday with Luis Castillo getting traded for Sir Anthony Dominguez, Nolan Jones, and Boston Smith. They take all of the payroll, so it works out. They get a pitcher. We get a bull piece, a couple prospects. They take on the contract. That's what we wanted. And now we just have to kind of wonder, is this going to be the last time that we possibly see, George Kirby in a Mariner uniform, Randy Arozarena in a Mariner uniform, or possibly Emerson Hancock the last time in a Mariner uniform? Is it one of those things where if Randy and George play good today, they stay on the team? If they don't play well, maybe they get moved tomorrow at the deadline. No one knows except for the Mariner organization. But again, hopefully we can get this win today. And again, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at the deadline tomorrow. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch to Larnach, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Mike in the building, Golf in the building, Papa in the building, Blue Jay and Bob in the building, Jerry in the building, what's good? Another strike in there to Trevor Larnach. Sweeper, low and away, 88 miles an hour. No balls and two strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the first inning, 0-0, Twins and Mariners. O2 pitch. Pitch is outside. Low and away. Splitter, 88 miles an hour there by Kirby. One ball and two strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the first, 0-0, Twins and Mariners. 1-2 pitch, and that is strike three looking. Great start there for George Kirby. And again, isn't one of those things where if he pitches well today, we keep him. If he pitches awful, we get rid of him. I'm not too sure, but I hope that we keep him. I'd rather get rid of Emerson Hancock and Randy Arozarena, unless Randy was going to be the everyday DH, then I would keep him. But again, we will see. I highly doubt they're going to get rid of Randy unless we get a good haul. Same thing for Kirby, and we get less for Hancock, but we do need right-handed bats. And obviously if we traded George, we would get probably a little bit more, but more times than not, George is usually a top 2, top 3 pitcher on the staff with Gilbert. So I'm not really sure if I really would want George to go, even though this year it's not been the greatest season for him. But overall, he's been very, very good for us. So, just one off season like Wu this year as well doesn't mean that we need to get rid of him, but again, it does leave the door open now with 5 starters. And if we get rid of another, Hancock or Kirby, we could end up calling up Cade Anderson, and that could actually be a good thing. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Sweeper missing there by Kirby to Ryan Jeffers. 90 miles an hour, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the first, 0-0 Twins and Mariners. Shout out to our female audience, our new subs, all our regulars and mods, and everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Jeffers. Cobra in the building, Jerry in the building, Steph in the building. 2-2 pitch, and then a hard hit ball into right field, and a single there for Jeffers. And the main thing with Castillo, we already have plenty of starters. We need bullpen help and some right-handed hitting. Obviously, White Sox fans don't realize that Castillo is 3-9 with an ERA of 5.06. So I get it. They're desperate, and they're not really, they don't care about Boston Smith or Nolan Jones. Nobody's really going to be using those guys. They're a part of the deal. And then we get Sir Anthony Dominguez, whose ERA is in the 4, but it does give us another piece in the bullpen that potentially could help us. And so I think it's a win-win for both teams, but I think White Sox fans are a little delusional. But at least Luis, as that ball gets popped up and out in left field to Randy Arozarena, at least Luis gets to go to a playoff team. It's not like the White Sox are a bottom feeder like in years past with Munetaka Murakami and, with Vargas and, a few others. And Colson Montgomery, they're actually a playoff team. So at least Luis is going to have a chance to be able to, help that team win. So I wish the best for Luis Castillo, but this trade definitely needed to be made. He was making too much money, and that was really the salary dump that we were looking for. And now to get back to 5 starters and a chance to get maybe Cade Anderson, on the team before the season ends. Next up is Cody Clemens. First pitch is in there to Clemens for a strike, 0-1 count. But I think it's a win-win for both teams, especially us, because we get rid of the salary. And again, anytime a guy that is your worst starting pitcher that's making over $20 million a year, you got to get rid of him. And we got Cade Anderson and Ryan Sloan waiting in the wings as well. So they get a guy that they think that maybe is better than he is, but at least it gives them some depth, and maybe he'll play well for the White Sox. I wish the best. We get a bullpen piece, a couple prospects, we get the salary off the books, and that's exactly what we needed. Pitches high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Clemens. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kirby to Clemens. But I don't think we're done. Again, Hancock, Kirby, as well as Randy Arozarena, 1-2 of those guys, potentially could be traded, and if we could get a Seiya Suzuki, type of bat, for Randy or Kirby, I would be on board with that. And then, we do need, bullpen help. I don't know what the chances of us getting a Mason Miller type would be. Brendan Donovan will be back on the team in a couple days, so that'll give us a lift, like getting a new player, even though we had him at the beginning of the year and he's been hurt. And we'll see kind of where the chips fall tomorrow. 3-1 pitch, popped up, shallow left. And Randy is there next to Julio, and that is out number 3. Good first inning here for George Kirby. But it definitely makes you kind of wonder, with Kirby starting today, is this the last time that we're going to see Kirby in a uniform? And does it depend if he plays well or not, if we keep him or let him go? Something to kind of think about. And then obviously we know Randy, is a great hitter, a liability on defense. And again, we do have options that we could replace him in the outfield. But again, he has been pretty valuable hitting wise, but obviously defensively, a big issue, as well as the hustle. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners as we go to the bottom of the first inning, and it's nice not to be down 3-0 early. We are a very good, baseball team at home more times than not, much better than what we are on the road as of late. Next up for the Mariners, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Let's go, Cole. Batting second, left fielder Randy Arosarena. And batting third, playing DH today, the Italian Stallion, Dominic Canzone. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. You're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. We're only 3 subs away from 24,500, 503 to 25,000. Still looking for our first dono on our dono train. And let's see where we're at on the likes here early as we approach the bottom of the first inning. We got the day off tomorrow, so we'll be watching very carefully tonight and tomorrow morning at the deadline. We're at 25 likes, 75 to go. Sean in the building, what's good? And first pitch, Cole Clutch Young with a base hit, and they don't call him Clutch for nothing. You know, we had that moniker made here. And again, a great nickname, a great player, and could have potentially be the best Mariner player, you know, sooner than later. Great job there by Cole Clutch Young getting us started here early against Taj Bradley. And he's had a pretty good season. 9-4 record, ERA of 3.65, better than Kirby this year. So we just got to be able to, you know, get some action on him early and often. And Cole Young getting a single up the middle, that's the way to do it. Great job, Cole. Batting second, left fielder Randy Arosarena. On deck is Dominic Canzone. First pitch is high and inside, 1-0 count. Jack in the building, what's good? Sean in the building, what's good? I like the trade. You know, you had to assume that there's not a lot of teams that would probably be wanting to take on all the money. You know, probably only a couple. So at least we got that part, and then anything that we got in return was a bonus, whether it be, you know, a right-handed hitter or a bullpen guy. So we did get the Sir Anthony Dominguez, you know, option to help us, you know, with some depth, and it helps both teams out, but especially it helps getting the money off the books, and then it potentially gives an opportunity for a guy like Cade Anderson to be able to be called up at some point before the year's over to start in the pen, and then obviously Cade could be a starter in the starting 5 next year, and then we'll see if we end up trading, you know, Kirby or Emerson. And if we end up trading Emerson or Kirby, then that opens the door to bring Cade up very, very soon. So. And 3-0 pitch ends up being low and at the knees, and 4 straight balls to Randy Arosarena in back-to-back days. You know, but I definitely would be on board if we could get a Seiya Suzuki type, you know, swapping Randy for a guy like that, you know, or getting a Mason Miller type, you know, in the bullpen. You know, if we had to trade Kirby or, you know, Hancock, I'd rather trade Hancock than Kirby, honestly, but, you know, we'll see how it all plays out. I don't think we're done, though. Next up is Dominic Canzone. First pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away, 0-1 count. And we usually do trades with the Marlins, so I'm not sure if that would mean like Otto Lopez and a bullpen piece, you know, for like a Kirby or a Hancock. And, you know, obviously Kirby is a hot commodity. Randy is as well, you know, and so we could get some good value for those guys. Not as much for Hancock, but we will have to wait and see. Deadline is tomorrow afternoon. 1-1 pitch, fouled off right in front of the catcher. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second with no outs. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0, Twins and Mariners. And obviously getting off to a fast start would be great, just like we did yesterday. Yeah, and again, it's great to have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, right? But again, you need to be able to hit, and the lack of hitting, you know, obviously not having Brandon Donovan and now JP and Luke Raley are hurt. You know, again, sometimes you got to let go of a piece, you know, in the starting 5 to be able to get someone that can hit the ball, you know. And again, if that could be like a Otto Lopez or a Seiya Suzuki, that's going to do us more than hanging on to a Kirby, you know, potentially, or, you know, an Emerson Hancock, especially when you got Cade Anderson and Ryan Sloan waiting. Now, if we didn't have Cade or Ryan Sloan, then I would say no. We should probably try to do our best to hang on with what we have. But since we do have this like amazing talent waiting, even though they're not in AAA yet, honestly, you could call up Cade Anderson in the bullpen today and he would be ready, in my opinion. So I think he could actually be one of the starting 5 pitchers already. That's how talented he is. But obviously they're taking it a very slow approach, with Cade and Ryan Sloan. But don't be surprised in the next few years if Cade and Ryan are in the starting 5. That's how good those guys are. Pitch fouled off and out of play. I mean, I try to watch as much farm system games and highlights as possible, and I wouldn't say that if I didn't really mean it or believe it. 2-2 pitch. Little dribbler towards first base and foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bradley to Canzone. And I honestly think that Cade Anderson could end up in the future being our best pitcher on the staff. He'll start off in the 5, start off actually in the bullpen, then at the 5, like Wu a couple years ago, eventually move himself into the 3. But I think as far as talent and like the stuff, as long as he keeps progressing, the way that he has from LSU winning a natty and what he's been able to do in the farm so far, as Dom pops up into left, and that is 1 away. I definitely think Cade is not only going to be a fan favorite, like Cole Young and Julio, but I think jerseys will sell. And I think it is something that we desperately have needed, a dominant lefty in the starting 5, and he will be a big, big fan favorite. And I think Sloan will have quite a few fans as well. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. First pitch, foul back behind the plate, 0-1 count. Hancock and Kirby for Miller. No, I wouldn't do that. We would have to get more. It would have to be, if we're going to trade Hancock and Kirby, since we only have 5 starters right now, we would have to get Mason Miller, a starting pitcher, and maybe Ty France back or something like that. We would have to get more than just a 2-for-1. 2 starting pitchers for a very good bullpen piece. We would have to get a lot more to make it worthwhile. We would have to probably get 3 or 4 players for Hancock and Kirby. Miller, starting pitcher to make up for one of the guys leaving, calling Cade Anderson up, and then getting Ty France back on the team. He's been very good this year, and then maybe another player or cash considerations, in my opinion. 0-2 pitch, popped up. Nope, and Julio misses, and that is 2 away. And again, they wouldn't trade both pitchers to one team. You never see anything really like that in baseball, where you have 2, of the starting 5 in the rotation going to one team. That has never really happened. Christakis with a 5, appreciate you. First pitch low into the dirt to Naylor, splitter 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Appreciate you, Christakis, getting us going. Pitch, hard hit ball. Over his head. Yes, go, 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 go. That's going to score. Cole Young. Oh, he drops it. Go, go, go. Big, big error out there in left field. And just like that, 2-0 Mariners. Let's go. I like that, baby. Christakis getting us going. And not only that, Josh Naylor with a big, big hit that got fumbled out there in left field. And again, anytime we can end up taking advantage of someone like Larnach fumbling the bag, that's like Randy out there in left field. That one goes over his mitt, tries to get it off the wall, cannot locate it, then tries to pick up the ball, and then ends up dropping it, and that ends up scoring an additional run. Should have only been 1 run scored, but we get Cole Young and Randy Arosarena to score off that miscue from Larnach. And we're used to it with Randy in left field. We understand. 2-0 M's. Let's go. Next up is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. First pitch is in there for a strike. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. In there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And I don't know, man. I know we're a much better ball club than we've, shown this season. 0-2 pitch, high and away. But after that win yesterday, feels like it gave us a little bit of an emotional spark. And again, we got Castillo now off the team. We'll make a couple more moves probably before tomorrow's deadline that ends. And, Donnie will be back in a couple days as well when we play the Tigers starting on Tuesday. So things could be looking very up for the Mariners against the Rangers and Astros in the AL West as Cal pops it up at center. And that is out number 3. We leave Naylor stranded, but that's okay. Getting off to an early lead with some miscues by the pitching. That's kind of like us on the road. And taking advantage and being able to get these early leads of 1 or 2-0 is very instrumental for us to be able to try to get a victory at home, to get back on track, to catch up to the Astros and Rangers, and then eventually overtake them if we can. Great job there by Josh Naylor. End of the first inning, 2-0 M's. And I feel vibes are good. We should have really won game 1 if we didn't have, miscues and, kind of blown opportunities, by Ferrer, Bazardo, and Randy's defense in game 1. But Randy made up for it, obviously, in game 2, sliding home and being safe. Got some good opportunities from some guys stepping up and already off to an early 2-0 lead, and I like it. Next up for the Twins, in the 5-hole, first baseman Royce Lewis. Batting second in the 6-hole, third baseman Brooks Lee. And batting third in the 7-hole, right fielder Alan Rowden. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Great start for the M's. Christakis has got us at a 5. 95 to go. 3 subs to go to 24,500. 503 to go to 25,000. 6.2 million views and counting. Next goal will be 7 million views. Shout out to our female audience, our new subs, our regulars, our mods, everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. And we're at 34 likes. We got 154 in the room, so we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we know we can get there. 66 to 100. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. It'll help people find the Mariners, the Twins, or an MLB stream, not only in the United States and Canada, but globally. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Shout out for Christakis. Doing big things. Appreciate you. We're at 5 on the Dono train, 95 to go. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And for me personally, I don't really want to get rid of Kirby. I'd rather get rid of Randy and Hancock first if we were going to get rid of, those kind of guys. And a little dribbler up the middle and just not a chance to be able to make that play. And runner is safe. Royce Lewis safe at first. And again, like I said, if we could end up getting a Seiya Suzuki type for Randy and making that swap, I would do that. And then on top of that, being able to, get Hancock, to a team where we could end up, getting another, potential right-handed hitter and bullpen piece would, be ideal, considering we have guys that we could call up if needed. But again, I don't really think that we would trade both. It's probably going to be just one. And realistically, Randy is probably safe, just because he's been the most consistent hitter, even though he drives us wild with his lack of hustle and inability to play ground balls in left field. But again, overall, I don't see Randy really moving, even though it, would make a lot of people happy. I know with me, if Randy was the everyday DH, then everything is fine. We're not bitching and moaning at all. But since he's out in left field, that's the issue. But if they made Randy the everyday DH, it solves a lot of problems. But I don't think Dan Wilson is smart enough, to make that move. And I know we've had Dom there and and whatnot. But again, this is Dan Wilson we're talking about. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Brooks Lee. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball towards first. Double play by Josh Naylor. Whoa, baby. Let's go. And it's great to have pitching, right? Where we got, these starters and you got some guys in the pen that will be coming back. The inability of the Mariners being able to hit, and we need a right-handed hitter. And we've had, Rob Refsnyder and, Connor Joe and Weston Wilson. Those guys aren't good enough. We need to be able to have, a Brandon Donovan type, as like a Seiya Suzuki, type of player to kind of fill in the gaps. And, just like when we ended up bringing in Gino to give us a little bit of lift. We definitely need, a few more right-handed bats, and we could always use a little bit more bullpen as well. Lee ends up grounding out to Naylor in the double play. Next up is Alan Rowden. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Kirby to Rowden. Alex with a 20. Appreciate you. Rex with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. We're at 25 on the Dono train, 75 to go. So Hawks in the building. So we ended up getting a big play, obviously, with Josh Naylor doubling to left. Cole Young ended up getting on board with a single. Randy got walked on 4 pitches, and then Naylor hit a deep ball into left field, going over the glove, hitting the wall, and then Larnock bobbled it, trying to pick it up. And we've seen Randy do that as well. So instead of 1 run scoring, Cole Young, we got Randy also to score, and that's how we're up 2-0. So good job to Cole, good job to Randy, and obviously good job to Josh Naylor getting us off to a good start, as well as George not giving up anything in the first inning. And honestly, I know we have, Castillo gone, and then you got, Hancock and Wu, as that one gets over the head of Cole Young. And obviously, we know Wu's been terrible on the road, good at home. Hancock, obviously, coming back to earth like Bryce Miller, even though they were kind of good early. And then lately now they're kind of evening out. Right? But to me, even though Kirby's season isn't what we expect, I honestly feel like he's normally our second best with Gilbert. Usually it's Gilbert, Kirby, and Wu, or Gilbert, Kirby, and another that are usually the top guys. And I know Kirby's record and ERA are not as acceptable as we normally, have him. But I feel like, Kirby or Miller, Kirby or, Hancock, Kirby and these other options, that we have, and I like Miller, obviously he's improved quite a bit, but again, and I know Wu obviously is having an off year, but, Kirby to me, is someone that if you are going to get rid of him, you got to get, really good value, as if he is the number 2 guy in the rotation, good type of value in return. Because honestly, in more times than not, that's kind of what he is. Gilbert's usually at the top, Kirby's the 2, even though Wu was the best last year. And then you got, kind of Wu and Bryce Miller kind of in that 2 to 4 range. They kind of go up and down for being second best, 3rd, 4th. They kind of go up, even though Miller was our 1 at one point. And then Hancock obviously now has kind of taken over the Castillo role, but has an opportunity to obviously show that he can go as high as 2 when he's playing well. And then obviously evens out sometimes to 3, 4, or 5 with the other guys that we have in the rotation. So rotation looks good. You get rid of Castillo's money off the books. Gives a chance for Cade Anderson to get called up at some point, especially if we end up getting Kirby or Hancock moved. But again, we'll just kind of wait and see how it all plays out. 0-2 pitch, low and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby to Keishel. But I do like the Castillo move. I wish him the best on Chicago. But for a guy that's got barely any wins and a high ERA above 5, diving attempt is missed. And I don't know, that might have been better off if Julio or someone else would have been able to go after it. 3 Mariners converging. Diving attempt there by Emerson and not being able to get it. And now we got runners on the corners. With 2 out. John with a 20. Appreciate you. Chicago Dad Dono. I salute you. Yeah, I mean, Cade can be in the bullpen today. I mean, I've never seen someone with statistics in the farm like him. And even Sloan's statistics are good. But again, they'll probably, Sloan probably won't be on the team until next year, unless, something crazy happens injury-wise or whatnot. And even if we do have injuries, it's probably still not likely they would bring up Sloan. But Cade, definitely can be on the team this year. And honestly, next year, I would be shocked if he's not in the starting 5. He's that good. And eventually, I think he'll end up being our best starter out of anybody we have on the team. I think that's how good he could be. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, Kreidler. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Kreidler. Top of the 2nd inning, runners on the corners at 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. And let's see if we can get Kreidler out to prevent them from scoring a run. Yeah, and obviously with the strike, looming next year, obviously you knew that that deal was going to be done. And again, the Dodgers didn't really bother me in years past, but again, it definitely is starting to feel, like they're an all-star team. And again, if they end up winning again, back to back to back, and obviously, it'll help out some of the middle teams, try to get a little bit better to compete on that level. But the bottom teams are still going to be cheap and not spend money. But obviously it's going to affect teams like the Dodgers and the Braves and the Yankees and kind of the top tier teams, the Mets, teams that spend a lot of money. Mariners are usually in the middle of the money spending, so it could make us a little bit more competitive. But again, we'll see. It was one of those things I didn't really mind the Dodgers, but now it's kind of getting to a point like I'm almost rooting for anybody to beat them. Someone to upset them in the National League, or someone even like the rival Blue Jays last season. If they would have ended up knocking them off, yeah, I wish it would have been us, but it's kind of getting to that point where you almost are going to be rooting for any American League team, whether it's us or someone else, to knock them off if they get there. 2-2 pitch popped up, and Julio and Robles almost run into each other. Got to have better communication. They get the out, and Kirby stays clean within the first 2 innings. Good job. All right, let's see who's up next here as we go to the bottom of the second inning, and let's see if we can add on another run or two. Next up in the 7-hole, right fielder Victor Robles. Batting second in the 8-hole, shortstop, the phenom Colt Emerson. And batting third in the 9-hole, third baseman today, Leo Rivas. And I'm glad that they, obviously we know JP and Luke Raley are hurt, so we're a little limited until Donnie comes back, probably on Tuesday versus the Tigers at home. And they don't have Skubal anymore, so that'll help us. And again, we'll see if Leo can play a little bit better defense than Weston Wilson. And, Leo has struggled a little bit in the farm this year, was a little bit better last year. But again, sometimes you just need to change the script and flip it after we've already gone through the Weston Wilson experiment for a few days. So I don't mind Leo getting a chance since we don't have access to JP or Luke Raley. Right hands up. Let's go M's. Three subs to go to 24,500. 503 to go to 25,000. We're at 45 on the dono train. 55 to go. And let's see where we're at on the likes with almost 200 in the room. We should be around halfway, and we are. We're at 48. 52 to go. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. It'll help people find Mariners, the Twins, or an MLB stream, not only in the United States and Canada, but globally. No, I don't think George is safe. And it may come down to, if George plays well, we keep him. And if he doesn't play well, we might, listen a little bit more aggressively to what's available, especially if we can get some right-handed bats, and bullpen help. Obviously, we got Sir Anthony Dominguez for the Castillo move, and, obviously got Castillo's money off the books, which is important. Still got some duds on the team like Garver and Refsnyder and whatnot. But again, eventually things will hopefully even out. And when we get, JP back and Luke Raley and especially Brandon Donovan, that'll really help us as well. But again, getting a Seiya Suzuki, right-handed bat would be, great. Getting Mason Miller in the bullpen would be fantastic. But again, if you want to get guys like that, you're going to have to give up guys like Randy, Hancock, or Kirby. So I don't think necessarily Kirby is safe. Little slow dribbler there by Robles, throw to first, and that is one away. Yes, there are rumors of teams calling in and seeing what is available. And it sounds like originally it was like, maybe Hancock and Luke Raley, maybe options, but then Raley got hurt. So nobody's going to want a guy that goes to the injured list. So Raley is safe. JP is safe, even though we wouldn't move him. But right now it seems like it's Hancock, Kirby, and Randy Arozarena. Those are the three guys that teams are inquiring about. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to move them, but we still do need, bullpen help, even though we are going to get Vargas, Criswell, and Brash back soon. and we got Sir Anthony Dominguez, so that helps. And now we only have 5 starters instead of 6, which is good. But again, we may need to, part with Hancock or Kirby to get a good piece like a Seiya Suzuki, if, Suzuki's even available. But it has to be someone on that kind of level, to make it worthwhile. It just can't be some kind of scrub that we're going to give away Kirby, or Hancock, like the Tigers did for Scooball, giving away scraps, for one of the best pitchers in the game. So, we have to make sure that we're going to get a good haul in return if we were going to move, guys like Randy, Hancock and Kirby. And obviously Kirby and Randy's trade value is higher than Hancock's, but Hancock's played well this year. Took him a couple of seasons to figure it out, but is a valuable piece on this team or on another team. 2-1 pitch outside, 3 balls and 1 strike from Taj Bradley to Colt Emerson. Three-one pitch, big swing and a miss. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the second, 2-0 Seattle. And Emerson drawing the walk. There we go. I'd rather keep Kirby than Hancock, though. I know a lot of people think, that Hancock might be the better piece, but not to me. Next up is Leo Rivas. We would get more, for Kirby, but I don't really want to get rid of him. But you don't know what they're going to do. We'll see. And Rivas pops it up into shallow right, and that is 2 away. Down goes Leo. And let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. And now we're back at the top of the order, already with a single to start it off. One of the best players on the Mariners, offense and defense. Second baseman Cole Clutch Young. On deck is Randy Arozarena. But again, it's great to have all these pitchers, but again, the lack of hitting, we do need right-handed bats. So, if that means that we have to sacrifice Hancock or Kirby, to be able to get a player, hopefully that's not just a rental, but someone that we have control of as far as next year, as well, that would be ideal. First pitch is low and at the knees with a splitter, 93 miles an hour, 1-0 count. But, nobody knows, 100% if we're going to get rid of Randy, Kirby, or Hancock. It's all speculation and everyone's opinion, but nobody knows except the people that are there, obviously, in that war room. 1-0 pitch, another ball there from Bradley to Young. High and away, four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. Bottom of the second inning, 2-0 Seattle. 2-0 pitch, cutter right down the middle there by Taj Bradley. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cole Clutch Young. Two-one pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bradley to Young. Also, it was a little odd with their social media post, when they ended up having Cole Young as the image, and then they ended up changing the dialogue at the top of the post, talking about this is George on the mound. And normally they don't do that. Usually the picture matches, obviously the headline at the top. And then, so I don't know if that's a little foreshadowing of potentially what could happen, but a little weird. Young pops up in the right, and that is out number 3. I'm always looking at every little detail, but again, it's not like the social media, group is going to know exactly what the, front office is going to do, but it was, kind of a little weird, when I saw it this morning. All right, good start for the Mariners with a 2-0 lead. Let's go to the top of the 3rd inning and see who's up next here for the Twins. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Next up for the Twins, 0 for 1 with a K, left fielder Trevor Larnach. Batting second, 1 for 1, catcher Ryan Jeffers. And batting third, 0 for 1, DHing Josh Bell. And on the mound for the Mariners, with an 8-9 record, ERA of 3.98. Definitely not as consistent like Wu this season. Both guys have been worse than expected, but Miller and Hancock have been better than expected. So it's kind of a trade-off, I guess. And then obviously Gilbert, still at the top and has been for us for quite some time. Three subs to go to 24,500. We're at 45 on the dono train, I believe. 55 to go. And we got 170 in the room. We should be getting a little bit closer towards that 100 number. We're at 57. We're making our way. $43 more to get to 100. Yeah, and I know that this season hasn't been, necessarily ideal, but in my eyes, I think Kirby's our second best pitcher behind Gilbert. So again, if you're going to trade our second best guy, even though Miller and Hancock have shown some flashes and Wu has gotten worse, this season compared to last, being our best pitcher and now has slid down into the rotation. It's like we got to get, number 2 pitcher value if we were going to, attempt to let a guy go like that. And a little flip back to first. And that is 1 away. And I'm not really sure what that would mean. Does that mean that we would have to get, let's say, for example, Mason Miller and Ty France for a George Kirby? Ty's having a breakout year and actually has a resurgence in his career, even though we already have Naylor at first. But you're going to have to get some good value in return. Not saying that they would do that particular trade, but, Miller and France are obviously 2 of the assets that they have, there for San Diego. And, I just don't really want to let Kirby go. I just, I feel that he's got that, the stuff. It's just kind of been a rough year, and, he's kind of like the Greg Maddux of the rotation. He's not going to blow you away with 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. He's more of a location guy, but he can turn it up from time to time. And, I like him. Like I said, I like guys that we draft, and, I hope that we hang on to him. 0-1 pitch, low and away, knuckle curve, 84 miles an hour. 1-1 pitch popped up in shallow right. Robles is there and calls off everybody else, Young and Naylor. Good communication that time after Robles and Julio almost ran into each other in the previous inning, and that is 2 away. Nice job, Victor. He was holler and wave him off, right? So far, so good here for George Kirby. Down goes Jeffers. Next up now is Josh Bell. First pitch into Bell is a strike from George Kirby. 0-1 count. Pitch, line drive. What a play by Cole Young. Diving play. Naylor at first for out number 3. And again, there's not very many players that are playing in this game that are better than Cole Young defensively at second base. He's going to be a perennial all-star. Could end up being a reserve or an all-star starter at second base next year. Just got to get that batting average closer to 270 to 300. And again, he's already got the power in the bat. He's got great defensive awareness. Cole Clutch Young doing it again. Love it. Great play there by Cole. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning and see if we can get another run on the board. Next up, 0 for 0 with a run and a walk, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting second in the 3-hole, DHing today, 0 for 1, the Italian stallion Dominic Canzone. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Right hands up, let's go M's. 50th anniversary for the Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio for this legend and icon. He's retiring out of the booth after this season. So we want to make sure we dedicate every stream to the one and the only Rick Riz. We love you. We're at 45 on the Dono train. 55 to go. 3 more subs to get to 24,500. Hopefully we do that today. And we're at 59 on the likes, 41 to 100. Shout out to Christakis, Alex, and Sean for getting us going. Let's go. Good start here for the Mariners with a 2-0 lead. Lost game one when the game was tied 3-3 by meltdowns by Ferrer, Bizzardo, and Randy in left. Randy stepped up in a huge way, as well as a few others, obviously yesterday. And now we just got to be able to get the job done here in the last game in the set. We got the day off tomorrow, and we'll be watching the trade deadline later this evening, as well as tomorrow morning and early afternoon. And then we'll be back at it at home against the Tigers on Tuesday evening. Appreciate that, Judah. 0-2 pitch, a little hit up the middle. Throw to first, and that is one away. Down goes Randy with a slow dribbler up the middle to second base. Next up in the 3-hole, DHing today, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. On deck is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, Dom. First pitch to Canzone, little dribbler towards first base. No tap on the bag, and that is 2 away. I want to see some patient at-bats, boys. Let's go. Next up, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. On deck is Josh Naylor. So far the hero with a big 2-run RBI double, scoring Young and Arosarena. Big hit into left field that Larnock ended up having it go over his mitt and bobbled in left field. And we were able to take advantage and score 2 instead of 1. And there we go. Julio Rodriguez smoking one into center field. And Julio Rodriguez getting us going here in the bottom of the third. Great job, J-Rod. Next up is Josh Naylor. Let's see if Naylor can bring him home. And after Josh Naylor, on deck is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. And again, we're going to have to get hot in August. It's one of the most brutal schedules that I've seen in a long, long time. We play a lot of good playoff teams, potentially. So we're going to have to raise our game to another level. And it does get easier in September. But again, if we fall on our faces in August, even if we do really well in September, it may not be enough to come back, if we end up doing really bad this month. So again, these deadline moves are going to be very critical, as well as the health of the ball club, of getting JP and Luke Raley back, as well as Brandon Donovan back, as well as Matt Brash, Cooper Criswell, and Carlos Vargas. Can't forget about those guys that have been hurt for a good chunk of the year as well. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees. Cutter missing there, 85 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner at first. Julio Rodriguez with 2 outs. Bottom of the third inning, 2-0 Seattle. Two-0 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and no strikes. From Bradley to Naylor. 3-0 pitch, high and away. Good take there by Josh Naylor. And Naylor with a 4-pitch walk, just like Randy had in the first inning. Good job. Next up is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Yeah, well, everyone already knew he was going to be going to the Dodgers. Dodgers are going to make the move because obviously they're going to, have to go through the strike process. And obviously it's not like they would be able to get Skubal, after the, whole process is done. So, they had to kind of go that particular route. And it's kind of, they say, all these other teams were in the running. I highly doubt it. And it's not like the Tigers got a good haul in return. And Raleigh all the way back to deep center field, back at the wall, and caught. And that is out number 3. And it's one thing if they actually got some good pieces in return, and then one of the good pitchers ended up getting taken off the deal late last night. So obviously it just kind of feels, like kind of cheating a little bit, with the way that the Dodgers are building their roster year in and year out. They're spending a lot of money. They're getting a lot of players. They have the team that looks like an all-star team that probably could end up competing against the American League or National League. If we're being honest, there's no other team that could compete like the Dodgers would be able to based on their pitching and their hitting staff and all the Hall of Famers potentially that they have on the team. But, it doesn't mean they're unstoppable. I mean, the Blue Jays took them to Game 7. And again, it's going to get to a point where, they're going to end up being kind of hated, if they're not hated already, depending on what happens this year, kind of turning into like the New England Patriots with Brady and that kind of vibe. And eventually you're just going to want someone different and someone new, rather, if someone can upset the Dodgers in the National League, or if someone could, come out of the blue and win it for the American League. But, again, obviously success and greatness is a big part of it, not only for New England, but also for the Dodgers. But it's about how you do it. And, we want it to be kind of a, even playing field. And with New England, it never felt like they were so much better. It's, obviously they're well coached, with Belichick, and then you had Brady and Gronk, but it's not like they ever had superstar receivers except for, Randy Moss. As far as like high tier talent, defense was always top 10. So I can't, it's not really the same between New England and on the NFL side and the Dodgers. The Dodgers are built, like an all-star team. New England never was. It was really about discipline, and getting the most out of their guys, but again, once you get a champion winning more times than people would like, eventually people get sick of it and want to be able to see new teams, emerge as a potential champion. So we'll see how it goes. But obviously the Dodgers are the front runner coming in to win the World Series back to back to back, and now getting Skubal. They're definitely by far, the favorites to win it back to back to back. And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And again, hopefully someone else other than the Dodgers, ends up winning it this year, whether it's an American League team or a National League team that upsets them. But, really the Dodgers' biggest, the biggest competitor to them is probably themselves with injuries, but you just never know. First pitch from Kirby to Clemens, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. But now if like Ohtani and like, let's say Freddie Freeman or Yoshinobu Yamamoto get hurt, then yeah, it definitely opens the door for someone to take their spot. But they are incredibly deep, from their starting 9 as well as their bench, pitchers, starters, and bullpen. And they got a great manager in Roberts as well. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Clemens. 1-1 pitch, high and away with a cutter. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kirby to Clemens. There's a lot of teams that cheat. I mean, Astros cheated, Red Sox cheated, New England cheated. I mean, there's a lot of teams that cheat, And I imagine there's a lot of other teams out there that cheat that just haven't got caught yet as well, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Clemens. Rob in the building, what's good? 2-2 pitch, hard hit ball, laser towards first and out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on and no outs. Top of the 4th inning, 2-0 Mariners. And if you're just tuning in, Cole Young with a single up the middle, 4-pitch walk to Randy in the first, and then a big base knock into left field by Josh Naylor, scoring Young and Arosarena after Larnach bobbled the ball in left field. And that's how we are sitting at a 2-0 lead. Two pitch from Kirby to Clemens. And that one gets fouled back to the T-Mobile bricks for Roger Clemens' son, Cody. Count still remains 2 balls, 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 4th, 2-0 Seattle. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 2-2 pitch. That looks like strike 3, but doesn't get the call. I guess pitch was low and at the knees, right on the corner, but inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Cody Clemens. It looked like it was right on the line. 3-2 pitch. Hard hit ball. Shallow right field. Robles is there. Nice catch. And that is 1 away. Nice catch there by Victor Robles. Shout out to our female audience, our new subs, all our regulars, all the mods, everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond, New Zealand, Australia, you name it, they watch. And I get all the analytics and metrics every day. And it's just great to be able to see the female audience grow, as well as so many people watching outside of the United States and Canada. It's a blessing and a pleasure. And hopefully we can continue to grow on the global level. First pitch is low and away from Kirby to Lewis, 1-0 count. Kirby on the mound, Royce Lewis in the box. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes from Kirby to Lewis. Yeah, Sheehan was a part of the deal yesterday, Judah, and then they ended up just going for a lot of just lower tier guys. And that goes back toward the warning track to Julio Rodriguez, and that is 2 away. But I already knew that the Tigers were going to get fleeced, but also you have to remember, with certain deals, players potentially could walk after the season. So sometimes if you hang on to a guy, yeah, you get him for this season, but then they may end up walking and then you get nothing. So sometimes there's kind of that give and take. It's kind of like a catch-22. It's like, you don't really want to get rid of an elite player like Skubal, but if you don't trade him, then you may not get anything. But then also, too, you have a choice to trade him to the Dodgers or not. And obviously, they say there was quite a few teams in the running, but I find that hard to believe. First pitch takes a strike, looking to Brooks Lee, 0-1 count. Kirby looking amazing. And again, a lot of pressure with his name being in the headlines, probably to play well, maybe to keep his job here in Seattle, rather than shitting the bed and then maybe getting traded tomorrow morning or later this afternoon. But it looks like Hancock, Kirby, and Arosarena are the 3 names that have been talked about based on teams inquiring. But that doesn't mean Seattle's going to pull the trigger. But we do need right-handed bats, and we do need bullpen help, even though we are going to be getting Brash, Criswell, and Vargas back shortly. JP and Luke Raley hit the 10-day injured list a couple days ago, and Brandon Donovan should be back hopefully on Tuesday at home when we start a series against the Tigers, obviously with no Skubal, so that'll help. 0-2 pitch is low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brooks Lee. 1-2 pitch, high and away, and fouled out of play. Sweeper 88 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 4th inning, 2-0 Seattle. And I'm glad Kirby's looking good. I don't want to get rid of him. Again, even if we were going to get like a Mason Miller, Ty France type of combo in return, I just like guys that we draft. And to me, Kirby's our number 2. He's the most reliable guy besides Gilbert. And then obviously we know Hancock and Miller have gotten better. Wu was our best last year, and obviously he's terrible on the road this year. But at home, his ERA is around the 2s, and hopefully Wu can figure it out. And every once in a while you're going to have an off season, but it's about consistency. Popped up. Young is there, and that is out number 3, as reliable as they come at second base. Nice job there by my favorite player on the team, Cole Clutch Young. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and let's see if we can extend our lead. Magic number is 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits, and if we're able to do that, it gives us a very good chance of being able to be victorious. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1, right fielder Victor Robles dropped the bunt down. Batting second, 0 for 0 with the base on ball, shortstop Colt Emerson. Hey, you can drop a bunt down as well. And batting third, 0 for 1 in the 9-hole third baseman Leo Rivas, another guy that could potentially drop a bunt down. Not like we're going to drop so many bunts in a row or even one in this game, but sometimes you got to be able to play small ball to win. Try to up. Let's go, M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 3 subs away from 24,500. We are at 24,497, 503 to go to 25,000. 6.2 million views and counting. Next goal will be 7 million views. We're at 45 on the Dono train, 55 to go. And let's take a look at it and see where we're at on the likes. We should be getting close to 100. We're at 72, 28 more to go with 202 in the room. Yeah. I mean, if he looks good, yeah, that could end up making him, easier to trade. But I think people already know how good George Kirby is. He doesn't need to pitch well today, for teams to want him. Teams already want him. It's really like maybe he pitches well today, we keep him. He pitches bad, maybe we get rid of him. But again, Kirby to me is our number two. I'd rather have Kirby than Wu or Miller, or Hancock, in my opinion. And then we do have Cade Anderson waiting in the wings with Sloan, but I would rather have Gilbert, Kirby, and Cade Anderson as the top three, and then on the back end have like Miller and Hancock and Wu. If we're gonna have those guys, but as far as like pecking order, but I think for me, Wu and Hancock and Miller are more expendable, than a guy like Cade Anderson that we're going to keep for a long time. And then obviously I like Gilbert and Kirby as far as consistency. I mean, this is the first time that Kirby's kind of been a little off, a little bit lower, than expected. But again, Wu's been worse, on the road. And again, I like what we've gotten out of Hancock finally. We didn't really know if that was going to be a bust for a first round pick. Normally we hit on our first round picks. Took him a while to kind of figure it out. And then Miller had an injury and looked really, really good. Started off like 4-1, but just kind of fell back to, earth a little bit. And I like Miller, more than Hancock. And then I think, Miller and Wu, when they're on, obviously they're exciting and whatnot, about consistency and what you like. So. But now I think Wu, with the struggles on the road, is more on the Hancock level, and Miller has surpassed him. So now, that's kind of where we're sitting. But again, things can change from one year to the next. Wu was our number one, and now Wu might be our 5, in our rotation since we got rid of Castillo to the White Sox. As Robles strikes out looking high and away, and that is 1 away. But again, a lot can change from one year to the next. 1 year you could be the best, and then the next year you could be the 5. And that's essentially what Wu is, putting himself in, position-wise, as far as like trust from the fans. And we know that we can't count on Wu on the road. It's kind of like Castillo. Can't really trust, Can we trust Wu at home? Yeah, more times than not, ERA around the 2s. But on the road, it's like 6. And that is kind of like what we saw out of Mooney and Castillo early in the year. And that's way unacceptable to have an ERA of 5 or 6. Especially for this team. Maybe for other teams it's okay, but we're known for our pitching, and again, lack of hitting, it hurts, but hopefully we can turn it around. 2-0 pitch, low and away, 3 balls and no strikes to Colt Emerson. 3-0 pitch, high and away, hitting the line, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 3 balls and 1 strike to Colt Emerson. Jay in the building, what's good? And Emerson with a slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is 2 away. And I think Emerson is going to have a real breakout year next year, hitting-wise. His defense is already like Cole Young's. He just has to be able to be more patient in the box, let the game come to him, and I do expect a big breakout year from him, and I think Cade Anderson is going to be spectacular as well. Next up in the 9-hole, third baseman Leo Rivas. On deck is Cole Clutch Young. And Leo was pretty good last year. We hung on to Dylan Moore for 3 or 4 more months than we should have, since Leo was balling out, for Tacoma. But this year, he's been kind of struggling. He's not the same player, because if he was, we would have called him up a long time ago. But again, I'm kind of happy that we have someone other than Weston Wilson. I think that experiment is already done. Again, played pretty good offensively for us for a few games, but lately has been in a slump, and also as a liability at third. Doesn't seem like he can handle the hard hit ground balls. And again, we know we've had issues with that, even with Donnie and JP at third base. And we don't have Ben Williamson anymore, which was probably the best defender that we had at third base in a while. But again, once we get Donnie back, I think he will solidify third base and give us a really good hitter that could lead off or wherever they decide to put him in the order. Bottom of the 4th, 2-0 Seattle. And Rivas with a little dribbler towards first base, toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3. Let's go to the top of the 5th and see who's up next year for Minnesota. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Right ends up, let's go M's. And again, Castillo, White Sox fans, super thrilled, but I don't know if they really know that he's 3-9 and has an ERA of 5.06. In their minds, they probably think he's more around 500 and his ERA is in the threes, but again, it's either or you don't. And again, we know Sir Anthony Dominguez's ERA is normally in the fours, but at least it gives us someone, that we can put in the bullpen, especially if we have, issues with injuries. And obviously, if we can get some of the Ruckers and Simpsons and Davilas and Oppies off the team and back to AAA and have more pros there with Sir Anthony Dominguez and Brash and Criswell and Vargas, it really will solidify the bullpen, even if Ferrer, Bizzardo, and Spires shit the bed from time to time. And then obviously we know Nolan Jones is on the Tacoma Rainiers going from the Guardians to the White Sox. I don't expect him to get called up. And then the third prospect is catcher Boston Smith. And obviously not even a real photo that in the uniform, obviously he's in the Arkansas Travelers, so he's way down there. And we already have a lot of catchers. So I don't even know if we would hang on to a guy like Boston. At some point, we might just let him go. But again, it was really to get rid of the contract for Luis, and they ended up taking all of it. And anytime you're paying a guy, 20, 25 million a year, and he's your worst pitcher, you got to get rid of that salary. And luckily the Mariners found a trade partner in the White Sox. All right, let's see who's up next here for Minnesota here in the top of the fifth. Next up for the Twins in the 7-hole, right fielder Alan Rowden. Batting second in the 8-hole, center fielder 1-for-1 as well, Luke Keeschel. And batting third, 0-for-1 in the 9-hole, shortstop Ryan Kreidler. Right heads up, let's go M's. We're at 45 on the dono train, 55 to go. 3 more subs to get to 24,500. And let's see where we're at on the likes as Kirby goes to Rowden. First pitch is out of play, and we're at 80. We're almost there. 20 more likes to get to 100. First pitch fouled off to Rowden. High and away, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Kirby. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away. Four-seam fastball just missing there by George. 8-9 record, ERA of 3.98. But again, he still is one of my favorite pitchers on the team. I like him like I like Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert. And obviously, with Hancock and Wu. When Wu is on, we saw how good Wu could be. And he needs to get back to, being his former self. Otherwise, he's going to be the worst starter, out of the 5. But I guess that's a good thing to have when we have that kind of talent, to have our number 1 be our number 5 the following year. But, hopefully Wu can, get back to being in that, 1, 2, 3 role, sooner than later. Otherwise, if he can't, he might end up getting moved down the road. 3-1 pitch. High and away. But I think if we end up, looking at, Wu and Miller and Kirby, Gilbert and Kate Anderson, that's going to be probably the most sexy, starting 5. Not to say Hancock isn't worthy. Obviously, he's pitched well this season. But again, we will see who ends up being expendable and who isn't. Rowden is walked. And next up is Luke Keeschel. But obviously, there is trade value for Hancock, Randy Arozarena, and George Kirby. But honestly, out of those 3 guys, I would rather keep Kirby and potentially trade the other 2 if we could. But I don't think Randy's going to get moved, considering, obviously as good of a hitter as he's been for us, even though the defense is suspect in the hustle. But, we lack hitting. And could we really afford to get rid of someone that's our most consistent hitter? Probably not, right? And Randy gets that ball in left field, and he is good at pop-ups. I'll give him that. And Rowden hustles back to first, and that is 1 away. And again, how you solve that problem with us getting mad every day, with his lack of hustle and effort in left field with ground balls, you put him as everyday DH, and then you don't hear us bitching and moaning about it ever again, but I don't think Dan Wilson's smart enough to do that. And then also you have to put someone in left that's comfortable, and I don't know if Luke Raley or Dominic Canzone or anybody else can really play left field like Randy does. At least, pop-up wise, obviously, I think ground ball wise, obviously Luke and Dom would be better than Randy in left. But, again, when you play left field or right field, it's much different than center, and again, right and left is completely different as well. I mean, you could be an everyday right fielder, go to left and completely fail. So we'll see how it goes. But we do have Ace, our first round draft pick, that played third in college, but can play first, or outfield. So that could be something that we could look at in the future, as well as Lazaro Montez that's in the farm system. So there's options, to move on from Randy and left if, we need to in the future. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, right down the middle, 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Kreidler. One pitch, inside, check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. Him sucking because he didn't want to play, you're playing for yourself and your money and your contract and your pride and your country and your team and the fans and your family. Obviously his numbers have just been going downhill since we got him in 2022 when he was amazing. When we got him from the Reds, he was a key component, with Cal and Julio to help us kind of, get over the hump, but every year after that, the stats were kind of trending downwards analytic wise. And again, obviously this season, not good, and obviously we've seen Wu and Kirby not look very good either. And Julio back to the wall at the warning track and caught. Deep ball. Rowden hustling back to second and getting back there just in time. All day in the building. What's good? And I'm actually kind of interested to see how Luis plays in Chicago, and at least he's going to a playoff team rather than a bottom feeder, so at least if it was the White Sox from a couple years ago, Luis would probably be depressed, but he's actually going to a team that we, you never know. We might actually match up with them in the playoffs and we might go against Castillo. So, it'll be interesting to see how, it all plays out if, the White Sox continue doing what they do with the Guardians in the Central, and if the Mariners can play a little bit better, than the Rangers and Astros down the stretch. But it's going to be a very difficult task. August's schedule is brutal, and it gets much easier in September. But nobody's going to suck on purpose, especially when money is on the line and your reputation is on the line just because you don't like, the owner or the GM or the manager. First pitch with the knuckle curve, fouled off, out of play, 0-1 count. Paisley is doing much better, no cone. Obviously 3 vet visits in 3 months for 1,100 early hurt, the pocketbook. But again, no hot spot on the tail, no throwing up, no ear infections. Obviously I've gotten probiotics for good gut health and got ear wipes to make sure ears are healthy, and, still walking 5 miles a day, 7 days a week. So she's happy and healthy. And that's a foul ball to Naylor. And we're going to have to go back in the box here. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Trevor Larnach. Sarah in the building. How are you? Did you get a chance to watch any of SummerSlam yesterday? I got to watch about a little bit more than half since I was working, and I wanted to focus on the Mariner game, but I got to, kind of go back and see what happened with Liv and EO and everything else. And obviously got to see at the end with, CM Punk and, seeing what we're getting there with Cody, Randy, with the RKO and the run-in, and then obviously with Obafemi and Brock at the end, which was kind of exciting. So obviously the card today, starting in about a half hour, 40 minutes from now, it doesn't look great, but again, we'll see how it all plays out. About half the matches look decent. The other half could be potentially average, but we'll see. But I'm looking forward to Roman and Seth, like I know you are. And then I'm looking forward, to seeing, we'll see. Sammy is, I think, opening against Finn. And then that should be a good match. And then I'm looking forward to trying to think here on the card. Who else am I thinking of? I'm thinking... here. As soon as I see the card here. All right, so we got Roman and Seth, which will be good. You got Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, and Tiffany Stratton versus Chelsea Green, Lash Legend in the ladder match. That should be interesting. Finn Balor and Sammy should start off with a bang. I think that's going to lead the show. Trick Williams and Baron Corbin, that doesn't really do it for me. But again, Danhausen and Dom, that doesn't do it for me either. But I think Penta and Chad Gable could steal the show. Roman and Seth should steal the show. Sammy and Finn should steal the show. And then I think the women's, the ladder, that should be good. But again, Trick Williams and Baron Corbin and Danhausen and Dom, those should not be on the card. Those are just kind of filler matches, but the other 4 should be good. And the ones that I'm really looking forward to is Roman and Seth and Penta and Chad Gable. I think those are going to be the best, besides obviously, what you're going to get out of Finn and Sammy to lead off the show, and then the ladder match with the women. So, but I think Penta and Gable, and then Roman and Seth, I think, it's going to give you the vibes. And obviously those will be more than likely the last 2 matches, at least I hope. So we will see. And obviously we know Brock is getting closer to full-time to retirement. Anytime he says that he's done, you never know. I mean, he's such a money draw, but now we actually have another version of Brock Lesnar in 2026, and that's kind of exciting. Oba is very exciting, and they're built very similar, with height and weight, and kind of move set and whatnot as well. Next up is Cole Clutch Young. First pitch, low and at the knees, goes into the dirt with the splitter, 92 miles an hour there by Taj Bradley, and that is a 1-0 count. 9-4 record, ERA of 3.65. But I'll definitely watch SummerSlam Night 2. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Cole. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Clutch Young. I got done watching Shark Week, which was fantastic. Watched Shark Fest early in the month. Walking Dead, Dead City will be on tonight as well, unless you have the app and it's already available. And again, I'm watching True Detective and The Pit, on HBO, which are both amazing. And again, it's just, I got plenty of things to do with Paisley, and it's going to be a jam-packed Sunday is why I'm watching The Deadline, as well as tomorrow morning. We have the day off tomorrow, and then we'll be back at it with Mariners and Tigers on Tuesday evening, and hopefully Brandon Donovan will be in the starting lineup, and if he is, he'll be on the thumb. Looking forward to that. 1-2 pitch. Hard hit ball into left field, fading out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bradley to Young. And I'm hoping, we'll get some more Cole Young and Colt Emerson jerseys available on the MLB shop for the Mariners. I noticed they have screen print white for Young and for Colt Emerson, and then they just debuted a teal Colt Emerson yesterday. But again, I'm looking for more sewn jerseys, and again, even this steelhead jersey is fire. There's a few options I think that, I would definitely add to my collection. The steelhead, a Cole Young, a teal Cole Young, and even the blue, Mariner road jersey, even though it may be kind of simplistic, I wouldn't mind adding something like that to my collection. I have no blue jerseys. And a hard hit ball by Cole Clutch Young, my favorite player, and another hit for Cole. And it just feels like if there's a guy that has a chance to get, 2 hits or more times than not, it's going to be him. And again, he's really dialing it in. And I didn't really know if he could handle leading off, because the first couple times they put him there, he went 0 for 4, 0 for 5. But now he's starting to go 2 for 4, 2 for 5, 3 for 5. And great job there by Cole Clutch Young with another single. Next up is Randy Arozarena. And again, I love two-way players. So, guys like Cole Young, guys like Julio. And then I believe that once Emerson, ends up figuring it out offensively, then that'll be another, added to one of my favorite players on the list, even though the defense is there. Offense is still a work in progress. And I'm a big Cade Anderson kind of guy. So after Cole Young, that would probably be the next jersey that I would get, even though he's not even on the team yet. But I believe in him 100%. So I've never seen farm stats out of any pitcher ever as good as him. And I watched him at LSU, watched him win the Natty, watched his dominance. And again, I do believe Cade could potentially be our number 1 in a few years. He's that good. Got a lot of potential. And he's a lefty. And something about lefties in baseball. 2-0 pitch. And Randy pops up into shallow center and caught, and that is 1 away. The Randy Johnsons, the Ichiros, the Ken Griffey Juniors, and now with Cole Young, and it's just something about lefties and the way they play. This the smoothness of it, and there's not as many of them. And again, nothing against righties. I love Edgar Martinez. I love Julio. But there's something. And speaking of, they show Griffey, Martinez, Ichiro, and Randy Johnson on the screen as soon as I mentioned their names. Eerie, creepy. Like, what are the chances of that happening? Showing their numbers and their plaques in the stadium as soon as I mention their names. Weird. Sports gods are listening, I guess. Bottom of the 5th, runner at first, Cole Young with 1 out. Mariners 2, Twins 0. A little ESP, I guess. All day in the building. What's good? And double play, not in time. Fielder's choice, Young out at second. Did you get it figured out all day? Like I said, I can always get things situated here, so. Okay. First pitch is high and away, splitter, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bradley to Rodriguez. Bottom of the 5th, runner at first with 2 outs. 2-0 Mariner lead after a Josh Naylor 2-run RBI double in the first, but it's been a little quiet. It's been kind of a pitcher's duel with Taj Bradley and George Kirby since. And I'm ready for an explosion of runs if we can get them sooner than later. 1-1 pitch and another ball there to Julio. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. That pitch was high and inside with a cutter, 89 miles an hour. 2-1 pitch and Julio with another hit. Julio and Cole Young, my 2 favorite players, stepping it up today. 2 hits apiece for Young and Rodriguez. Let's go. Nice job there by Julio. Next up is Josh Naylor. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. On deck is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And Naylor pops up with runners at first and second. And unfortunately, that is out number 3, out at third. End of the 5th inning, 2-0 Seattle. I'm going to check up on Paisley here real quick, and I'll be right back. I am back. Trying to get a little snack for her. All right, next up is Ryan Jeffers. First pitch to Jeffers, takes a strike looking right down the middle with a sweeper, 87 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Nasty pitch there with another sweeper by Kirby. I like it. Low and away. 88 miles an hour, no balls and 2 strikes to Ryan Jeffers. And Kirby's looking fantastic. And again, we've seen Kirby look, good at times and other times look terrible. But again, I still think that he's one of the top dogs, with Logan Gilbert. And again, I've seen obviously Wu kind of go backwards on the road. And then obviously Hancock and Miller early on were fantastic, but lately have kind of came back to earth a little bit. And I kind of think that those guys are kind of all in the mix, after that, even though Kirby's record in ERA isn't that great, as far as consistency in his career, I'd put him at the top, at number 2 with Gilbert at 1. So, but again, things can change from week to week and year to year. As we know, Wu was our number 1 last year, got hurt at the end of the year. And if he didn't, maybe we would have went to the World Series instead of the Blue Jays, especially if Wu would have been able to pitch 3 times in 7 games. He was that good, where he could have been like the Shohei Ohtani or Yoshinobu Yamamoto for us, and again, it's just unfortunate that injury happened at that point. 1-0 pitch, high and inside, 2 balls and no strikes from Kirby to Bell. Two-0 pitch, little slow dribbler up the middle, and just gets past Young there as it rolls into the outfield to Julio, and a single there for Bell. Next up is Cody Clemens. Well, if you follow social media, and based on the beat writers of the Mariners and the organization, there's a reason why people are talking about it. It's not like they're just making it up. It's based on what's on, MLB and what's on, through the beat writers. It's not like people are just magically making up names and whatnot. It's like you either follow what's going on with the team or you don't. First pitch is high and away with a sinker, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Whether there's any truth to anything that comes out from like Jeff Passan and all these other, insider beat writers, we don't know, but again, that's what's being reported. And if it's being reported, then we're going to talk about it here. It's not like people randomly pick, random names to say that they're going to get moved. 1-1 pitch. And Clemens pops up. Randy is there in left field, and that is 2 away. Next up, 1 for 2, first baseman Royce Lewis. Just because he's pitching right now doesn't mean that, he wouldn't be dealt at some point, during the game, after the game, and obviously before the deadline tomorrow. I mean, we'll see if there's any truth to it. I hope there's no truth, but again, it wouldn't shock me really, if Kirby or Randy or Hancock get moved. And obviously we talked about Castillo and then that happened. So, and a nice toe tap on the bag and a good play there by Cole. And that is out number 3. And obviously we do need bats. We do need bullpen help. We need help hitting, and again, we have kind of a lot of pitching. So for those names to be brought up, it's kind of, it's not surprising. And then obviously Randy's lack of hustle and shitty ground ball play, for his name to get mentioned, based on, obviously being a good hitter, but having other, issues, that didn't really surprise me either. But the chance of Randy getting moved is probably not likely. That's probably the least, player you would assume to be moved. And then probably Hancock and Kirby are more likely to be moved. And, hopefully they move Hancock rather than Kirby, in my opinion. I'd rather go that route. But, if they do decide to go with George, it's got to be a good haul in return. Otherwise it's just not going to be worth it. And we do have Cade and Ryan waiting in the wings, but, who knows what guys will get called up and when. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 6th and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for Seattle, in the 6 hole, 0 for 2, catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, right fielder, Victor Robles. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, shortstop, Colt Emerson. Tridents up, let's go Ems. All right, we gained a couple subs during the commercial break. Appreciate that. 2 subs to go now to 24,500, 502 to 25,000. We're at 45 on the Dono train, I believe. 55 to go, but I haven't got a chance to check Cash App or Venmo recently, so I'll check that. And we're at 95 likes. We need 5 more to get to 100. We have 220 in the room, so we should definitely be able to get 5 people to hit the like button, and hopefully we'll be able to get somewhere between 150 and 200 likes before the stream ends. If we can get 5 people to smash that like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. First pitch to Cal Raleigh is low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Two-0 pitch, fouled off, low and away. Splitter, cutter by Taj Bradley. Low and away, high and away, and then low and away, fouled off there by Cal. 2 balls and 1 strike from Bradley to Cal. 2-1 pitch. Cal pops it up. Third base is there. And that is 1 away. Brooks Lee with the catch. Next up in the 7 hole, right fielder Victor Robles. On deck is Colt Emerson. Lauren in the building. How are you? I remember that, Tony. First pitch in there for a strike to Victor Robles, 0-1 count. Yeah, I had to switch hats, halfway through the game. Little slow dribbler there by Victor. Throw to first, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Yeah, this is a new one from Brooks from yesterday, so... anytime that I feel that one is a good fit, even though he's been grinding, I think he's at 154 beats in about 6 months to 8 months or so. So he's been really working hard, and there's, about maybe 30 that I have handpicked, out of the 154 that I feel that have, are a good fit here. But there's a lot of others that are amazing, but they maybe don't fit the sport, vibe and whatnot. So first pitch to Colt is fouled off, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour there by Taj Bradley, a good pitcher here for Minnesota. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, and Emerson line drive, yes! Over the head and into the outfield, and Colt pumps the brakes. And again, I really do believe that Colt is going to break out next year. Same thing with Cade Anderson, and it's going to be exciting to be able to get a few more of my favorite players, besides Cole Young and Julio Rodriguez, to be able to play up to their potential. Colt is next, and then obviously after that will be Cade Anderson. And those will be the guys that I get jerseys of, obviously, in that order, more than likely. Young, and then Cade, and then Colt. Got a lot of great young guns. Next up is Leo Rivas, filling in for Weston Wilson, and obviously JP and Donnie at third. And I know they were looking at Casey Schmidt on the Giants for a third baseman, but he got hurt and went to the IL, just like Spencer Steer for the Reds. So obviously those guys are, off, the board as far as teams wanting players. Luke Raley's name was kind of floated around as well as potential trade bait, but anytime you end up going to the injured list, that usually ends that conversation. 1-0 pitch, and another ball there to Leo Rivas. Bottom of the 6th inning, runner at first, Colt Emerson with 2 outs. 2-0 pitch, high and away. Count now is 3 balls and no strikes to Leo Rivas, and we don't really expect anything out of Leo, but if he can get on base with a walk and a bunt or, a single, hit by pitch but not hurt, just something productive, because obviously we know with Connor Joe and Weston Wilson and Rob Refsnyder, it's there's not a whole lot of consistency there. 3-0 pitch, low and away, and anytime you can end up getting one of your weakest links, a walk, we'll take it. And now we got Cole Clutch Young with runners at first and second with 2 outs, and with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. At one point a few weeks back, Cole was batting over 400, and then with runners in scoring position with 0 or 1 out, it was above 300. So this is the guy that most likely can get you an RBI or a home run or a hit, especially in the 7th inning and beyond. And I know we're only in the 6th. But we're having a mound visit here, and hopefully Cole Clutch Young can open this game up with a 3-run blast or an RBI to make it 3-0, 4-0, or best case scenario 5-0 if he's able to get a hold of one. And I love players that play offense and defense. So it's no surprise that Cole Young and Julio Rodriguez are my 2 favorite, but again, Cade Anderson after that, and I have a good feeling that Colt Emerson is going to end up joining that group as well. Bottom of the 6th, runners at first and second with 2 outs, and Cole did have an opportunity like this yesterday and wasn't able to get a hit, but he gets one there. Let's go. 3-hit day. Run, Emerson. Run. Bang. And just like that, when you know, 3-0 Elms. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if Cole Young, Colt Emerson, that dynamic duo keeps going and trending in the right direction. And at some point, down the road, Cole Young might end up being the best player on the team overall. And again, that's a bold statement, since he's only in his sophomore season, but he's really been the only bright spot in the 2026 season overall. Really hasn't fluttered like Bryce Miller or Emerson Hancock. He's been very consistent, getting better and better and better. Another big RBI, now runners at first and third with 2 outs, 3-0 Elms. And again, I feel like I'm a pretty good evaluator of talent. Not everyone's perfect, but again, I can spot talent, in the farm, and I can spot talent, but also it's up to the player, to do what we know they can do. And obviously baseball's extremely hard. But again, Young seems like a guy that could be a perennial all-star. He's already amazing on defense, stepped up from his rookie year offensively. Should have made the All-Star game as a reserve second baseman this year, and his stats are right on par with Ernie Clement and Ozzie Albies that made the All-Star teams this year. He just needs to get his batting average up to 270 to 300, and if he does that, he'll have better stats than both of those guys, and those guys were the starters this year. So a very bright future for Cole Young, and who knows, maybe one day Cole Young will be hanging his jersey in the rafters in the Hall of Fame. Could you imagine that? That would be amazing. Line drive there by Randy Arosarena and caught by Trevor Larnach, and that is out number 3. Showtime in the building. What's good? Joe in the building. Nice job there by Cole Young, extending the lead, 3-0 Elms. You want to make sure you're investing in, rookie autos, for certain guys before they blow up, before it gets to be out of price range. I definitely got my hands on a very beautiful Cole Young rookie auto. Topps chrome black, blue refractor. You got to be able to get on that. All right, let's see who is up next as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Nobody is more likely to come up with a big play, typically in the 7th inning and beyond, besides Cole, but he proves to people that, hey, I can get him in the 6th inning as well. It's great to be able to see, players, step up. And again, we haven't had a whole lot to cheer about this year, but one thing that we've been able to cheer about pretty consistently, is Cole Young. And again, we've had a lot of things go wrong. Andres Munoz, George Kirby, Brian Wu. Obviously, we saw Miller and Hancock at one point be amazing, but have kind of come down to earth. And again, it's just taking it one day and one game at a time. Next up for the Twins, as we go to the top of the 7th, 0-for-2, third baseman Brooks Lee. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a walk, right fielder Alan Rowden. And batting third, 1-for-2 in the 8-hole center fielder Luke Keeschel. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Great job there by Cole Young to give us a 3-0 lead. Yeah, you're thinking maybe from the Diamondbacks to the Giants to San Francisco. Kind of similar colors, but I think that's what you're thinking. I believe that's when it happened, or around that time, because we obviously know he started with the Expos. I watched him at, obviously USC, and he did photography back then went to the Expos and was with Pedro Martinez. And then we got him in Seattle. And then obviously we've seen him, kind of move on to a few other teams, played a lot of his best ball in Seattle. And then the Diamondbacks winning the World Series with Kurt Schilling, bloody sock. We all remember that. And then I believe the Giants, I think at that point in between that game, I believe is when the trade happened, but someone can look that up to verify. So, obviously it happened many, many years ago. So. But I'm pretty sure that that's when it happened, or something of that nature, around that time. So, top of the seventh inning, 3-0 Mariners. Pitch fouled off into right field and out of play. Great to be able to see George Kirby having a good game, not even giving up a run. So Mariners to Astros in 98. He did go there. Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, and a player to be named John Halama, and he was on an expiring contract. I don't think a lot of people even remember him being there, but again, sometimes you're only there for a short period of time, and it happened so many years ago. So, but Randy did go to the Astros. And he went 10-1 with a 1.28 ERA and 11 starts for the Astros, carrying him into the postseason. But again, it's one of those things. It's kind of like, did he play there? And again, normally we're pretty good, with former Mariners when they go to other teams like A-Rod going to the Rangers and getting the big 10-year, $250 million deal, playing with the Yankees. But with Randy, he kind of played on quite a few teams after Seattle. So first pitch with the knuckle curve to Rowden in there for a strike, 0-1 count. That is a good question. Showtime. What kind of food do you like to eat? We have a lot of great food carts, not only downtown, but in like suburbs like Beaverton and other places. So it's pretty much, if you're looking for Mexican or Italian or Indian or Asian, whatever you're looking for. There's going to be a lot of options there. Go to first, and that is 2 away. If you're talking about chicken and that type of thing, with fries and other things, you got to let me know what type of food you like, and then I can maybe give you a recommendation or two. Yeah, again, and it's sometimes when it happens, for just a short period of time, sometimes, you're not watching, the same type of attentiveness maybe as a fan now and whatnot. So. But I remember seeing a highlight of Randy, in a game. I'm not sure if he was actually pitching in the game or he was on the team, but then they ended up switching hats. I'm not sure if a fight broke out or something, and then there was a trade in the game, and then he had to switch hats and go to the other dugout when the game was still going on. I remember seeing that on social media and whatnot. As we get a slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is out number 3. Kirby pitching a gem here so far. But obviously that's just a small blip in a very lengthy, great career for Randy Johnson. So Expos, right? Mariners, and then Astros, and then Diamondbacks, Giants, and Yankees. So it just kind of, depending on, it was six teams. So Expos, Mariners, Diamondbacks, Astros, and Giants. That's wild, man. So Expos, Mariners, and then Astros for a short period of time, right? And then Diamondbacks, and then Yankees, and then Giants. All right, let's go to the bottom of the seventh inning and the seventh inning stretch. Let's see who's up next year for the Mariners. Except for the Mariners, in the 3-hole, DHing 0 for 3, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Let's see if we can get a Dom ball. Batting second, having a great day, 2 for 3 with a K, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a base on ball, having a good game as well, getting the party started for us to get a 2-0 lead, Josh Naylor. Right ends up, let's go M's. All right, we ended up hitting our number. We got 2 more subs. That's awesome. We're at 24,500. 500 subs to go to 25,000. I'm excited. 100 to go to 24,600. Shout out to the 2 new subs, our female audience, all our regulars, all our mods, everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. We're at 45 on the dono train, I believe. 55 to go. If I've missed anything on Cash App or Venmo, let me know, as well as in the chat. And then we're at 109 on the likes, 91 to 200. And we got 247 in the room, so we should be able to get to 150, 200-ish before the game is over. And obviously, the one that people remember is Eddie Garcia, and we remember how good he was for us, when we ended up getting him. So. At the time of the trade, when we traded Randy, he was 9-10 with a 4.33. We should have kept him, but he went on an incredible 10-1 record, 1.28 ERA and 11 starts for the Astros down the stretch. And if that's not turning it around, I don't know what the hell is. It's one of the best turnarounds in baseball after a trade of all time. And again, it's just kind of sad that we weren't able to keep Randy for his whole career after the Expos, or Ken Griffey Jr. and Ichiro and some of these other guys. But, we know baseball is a business, but, I'm really happy that we got some of the best baseball players to ever live to be able to play in a Mariner uniform, like Griffey, like Edgar, like Randy, like Ichiro. And hopefully we'll be able to add a few names to his current roster for those kind of names as well before they're said and done. Rojas on the mound now for the Twins. 1-0 pitch, low and away with the slider. 2 balls and no strikes to Dominic Canzone. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Should have won game 1 when the game was tied 3-3, but we had a meltdown by Bizardo, Ferrer, and Randy defensively. Ended up losing that game, but came up big last night with the victory. Little slow dribbler towards first and safe. Nice hustle by Dominic Canzone. I love it. Great hustle. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's see if Julio can have a 3-for-4 day. And anytime you can end up getting a couple hits, it's fantastic. And the Mariners have been struggling so much, this season. It just feels like we haven't had too many guys even get 2 hits in a game. It's not like, we have Ichiro type of player where he can go, 3-for-5, 4-for-5, 5-for-5, 5-for-6. We don't really have anybody like that. But think about how many games when I go over the stats at the end where we say 0-for-5, 0-for-4, 1-for-5, 1-for-4. And sometimes these are like really good players, and it's pretty rare, for guys to get 2 hits, let alone 3 or 4 in a game. but you're definitely starting to see a few guys step it up as of late, and it's great to see. Even 2-hit games, it may not sound crazy, but when you're going 0 for 5 in other games, you'll take 2 hits and like a walk. That's a real productive day, especially if one of those hits ends up being a home run or a big RBI. 1-0 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner at first and no outs. Bottom of the 7th, 3-0 Seattle. And another thing, we haven't been hitting the fastball very well. Last season we were one of the top 10 teams, hitting the fastball. Now we're one of the bottom 10. So again, hitting the fastball, and obviously that produces a lot of home runs. We know with Dom hitting, fastballs off the lefties, lefty on lefties can work. We don't necessarily have to do the splits, but definitely seeing the fastball is going to be a key to the success for RBIs, big hits, and home runs down the stretch, not only in August, but September. 2-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and no out. Bottom of the 7th, 3-0 Seattle. Yeah, I do believe that, we're not done. We're going to make 1 or 2 more moves. Normally a trade partner is the Marlins. They got Otto Lopez, who's a good player that potentially could be moved, and they have bullpen pieces normally that we get. We're like, who? It's some random guy in their bullpen. But, we'll see. Obviously names like, Adrian Morejon and Mason Miller, as far as bullpen pieces for the Padres are rumored, but who knows if they actually will move them. Seiya Suzuki for the Cubs, even though I imagine Cubs fans want to hang on to him, and I don't blame them, but you just never know. 3-2 pitch and outside, and Julio with a walk. Julio going very productive here today. 2 for 3 with a walk and a K. I like it. And again, making sure to have a really good start to maybe potentially keep you, rather than deal you. I'm really happy for Kirby. Next up is Josh Naylor. Like I said, I'd rather get rid of Wu or Hancock, or Miller before Kirby. Even though I do like some of those other guys, but. Miller was amazing. Hancock was amazing. Both have come down to earth. Wu was our number 1 last year, but can't pitch on the road this year with an ERA of 6, but doesn't mean that he can't turn it around next season or hopefully before the year ends. But I feel as far as consistency on this roster, Gilbert and Kirby have been the top 2 for a while. And I don't think I would want to move. Even if we were to get a good haul, I think Kirby is a staple. It's not like we got him from another team. We drafted him, and guys that we draft, I want to keep. If we can. I know it's a business and all, but I do like Kirby as a pitcher, even though he's kind of had an off year this year with Wu, but I think I trust Kirby a little bit more than I do with Wu, at least for the time being, especially on the road. Pitch is low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Rojas to Naylor. 1-2 pitch, high and away. And we might be able to open the game up more. And again, the magic number is 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And when we have good pitching with that, we're almost unbeatable. And again, right now they're at a 0, but that doesn't mean they're going to stay at a 0. We'll have to see who comes in for George after. But this has been a real good game, feeding off Uncle Mo and the momentum of Randy sliding home and winning yesterday. And it just kind of feels once we get Brandon Donovan back on Tuesday, Brash, Criswell, and Vargas, maybe a week or 2 after that, things could really start to fall in place. And obviously making a move at the deadline for a right-handed bat or 2 or another bullpen piece could potentially happen. But if that does happen, then that means that Hancock, Kirby, or Randy might get moved. But, that might just be speculation and rumor. 2-2 pitch. And Naylor pops up into shallow left. But teams have been supposedly calling for those 3 guys and asking if they are available, but that doesn't mean the Mariners are going to pull the trigger. But the guy that they did pull the trigger on is the guy that they should have got rid of first, and they did, Luis Castillo. I wish him the best in Chicago, but 3-9 record, 5.06 ERA. It was time. And you're getting overpaid, over $20 million a year. And the White Sox picked up the whole money, So again, that was a smart move. And normally we don't say smart and the Mariners, front office very often, but that was a good move. Naylor flies out to left, and that is 1 away. Next up is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Nothing would make me happier than a 3-run bomb here by Cal to give us a 6-0 lead. Let's go, Cal. 0-1 pitch, popped up and out of play in right field. Sinker, 96 miles an hour there by Rojas. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. Bottom of the 7th, 3-0 Seattle. And if you're a fan of wrestling, SummerSlam Night 2 is just getting started. Looking forward to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and Chad Gable and Penta later tonight. 0-2 pitch. Hard hit ball. Deep left field. Back. Gone! I get my wish. ESP, baby. 3-run jack by Cal Raleigh. I called it 30 seconds ago. The sports gods listen. 6-0 M's. Let's go. I'm not going to make home run predictions on every at-bat, but usually the times that I do, I'm not saying I'm 100% with the predictions, but, more times than not, I got a good feel, of the game. And again, I'm not going to be able to be predicting them all the time, and you don't hear me say home run at every at-bat, but I had a feeling, and good job there by Cal Raleigh, making me look good. 6-0 M's. Ask for a home run, you get a home run. Let's go, baby. Next up is Victor Robles. First pitch for Robles. He got too excited, wanted to join the home run party, and flies out to right. And that is 2 away. Next up in the 8-hole, shortstop, Colt Emerson. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And again, if we can play like this, again, we can definitely move up the standings and catch up to the Rangers and Astros sooner than later. And again, we know that the Rays are good. We know the Yankees are good, even though they have been missing Cody Bellinger and Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge. All right, we understand that. White Sox and Guardians are good. And then it's going to come down, to the Rangers, Astros, and Mariners slugging it out, for a spot or two. But again, as far as talent level, we have just as of a talented team as anybody in the American League, besides the Yankees and Rays. But again, it's just about us and our core, to be able to get the job done. And great job there by George Kirby today, and great job there by Cole Young, Julio Rodriguez earlier, and then Cal Raleigh hitting the 3-run jack, making me look good here on the channel. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Rojas to Emerson. I love it when the predictions come true. And it's not even like me, getting that valid, correct response. It's just, I just want to see the team win, but it is a little creepy, when you say something and then all of a sudden the broadcast reflects, what you say. Just like when we started talking about Randy and Ichiro and Griffey and Edgar. And then as soon as I said that, they brought up the plaques at the stadium on the screen. They never do that. And that was weird. And then 3-run jack would make us happy. And I guess the sports gods agreed. Great job there by Cal. 6-0 Seattle. Awesome game. And Emerson, big swing and a miss, and down he goes. I believe that's home run number 12. I think he was at 11 coming into the game. Obviously a far cry from the 60, but again, it's just about getting hot at the right time. And again, he's definitely has been seeing the ball from the right side a little bit better than the left, but I do believe that he will be dangerous from both sides as the season continues. All right, next up in the top of the 8th with his nice 6-0 lead. I mean, we haven't had leads like this in a lot of our games this season, and it feels good. Next up, 0 for 2 in the 9-hole, shortstop Ryan Kreidler. Batting second, leadoff hitter, left fielder Trevor Larnach. And batting third in the 2-hole, catcher Ryan Jeffers. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And again, Cole Young going 3 for 4, right? Julio going 2 for 3. Naylor 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Cal 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs. it's just about getting some consistency. Colt Emerson 1 for 3 with a run. So again, even Randy going 0 for 3 and getting a run. So again, we're getting really good production. We just need Robles and Rivas to get a hit. But just the simple fact that they don't have a hit, they're the 2 weakest hitters, but there still is time, depending on batting order, to maybe for one of those guys to pull it out, since they obviously had a chance to get it done. So. All right, Eduard Bizardo has had 4 meltdowns in his last 5 opportunities. He's coming into the game, and thankfully we have a 6-run lead, but hopefully Eduard does not blow it here. First pitch from Eduard Bizardo to Ryan Kreidler. Takes a strike looking with a sinker low and away, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And again, those type of stats matter, when you've had meltdowns, giving up hits or home runs. And a long throw that ends up hitting the runner. And Kreidler is safe. And Bizardo giving up a hit again. But again, I don't have any confidence in him at the moment when you have 4 meltdowns out of 5. I mean, that's a little bit too many. I mean, it's one thing to have 1 meltdown out of 5. Maybe 2, but when you're 4 out of 5 meltdowns, giving up a hit, multiple hits, RBIs, home runs, even if we end up winning, that's not a good sign, and obviously Bizardo and Ferrer have not been really trustworthy. I think I trust Gabe as far as the guys that are normally on the team on the bullpen. I trust Gabe probably the most at the moment, but that could change from, day in, day out, week in and week out. And then obviously, with our Rucker, Davila, Hoppy, Simpson type of AAA fill-in guys, I don't really have any confidence in those guys for the most part, game in and game out. And when we get Brash, Criswell, and Vargas back, and we push those AAA guys back to Tacoma, then I'll feel comfortable. And we don't know what we're going to get out of those guys after the injuries. I mean, Vargas hasn't even played all year, so who knows if he'll be good or bad, but, hopefully somewhat good. Well, at least that's what we can hope for. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Trevor Larnach. Nice job there by Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Larnach. And Bizardo is kind of in the same position as Brian Wu. Those were the 2 best guys, starter and bullpen last year. Wu was a starter, number 1, based on his stat line and confidence in what he was able to bring. And Bizardo was our number 1, but they fell off this year. Wu now is probably 5th, out of 5 starters at the moment, especially with his road woes, ERA of 6. I think we trust Hancock, Miller, Kirby, and Gilbert quite a bit more at the moment, and we traded Castillo away last night to the White Sox. And then Bizardo, I don't trust him. Back. And look at that. KW, you trust him. I sure as hell don't, because I know the stats. And he's blown another 5 games out of 6, and he gives up a big 2-run jack. Imagine if we were only up, 2-0, and now the game is tied at 2. Or even if we're only up 3-0, and now it's 3-2. We could potentially lose. And that's why Bizardo is not trustworthy. He's blown 5 games out of 6, and now he gives up another big 2-run jack. And again, women lie, men lie, stats don't lie. And it's all about if you pay attention and if they've been good lately or not. And Trevor Larnach, 2-run jack on Bizardo again. And again, I don't want to see a whole lot of Bizardo moving forward. You might like him, but I sure as hell don't. 6-2 Seattle. First pitch fouled off, high and inside. 0-1 count. Momentum goes both ways when you're doing good and when you're doing bad. But again, too many fuck-ups in a row for me to be able to say, yep, this is the game that he's going to turn it around. Even with a 6-0 lead, I don't believe in him. And again, I don't really believe in Ferrer either. And you can look at overall stats, and the stats on paper can look pretty good, but there's more than just the stats. It's also the eye test and watching the games lately. And, they might have been good early on, but it's like, how have they been doing lately? And again, not just the overall numbers. And sometimes people get confused, when they see like really good numbers with ERA and strikeouts and walks. But again, it's about how have you been doing lately? Just like in the NFL, how have you been doing lately? And sometimes you can be good at one point and really fall off, later in the year. 1-2 pitch fouled off and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Jeffers. 5 times out of 6 is too much. And again, if it's one thing, if it's like singles, okay, I'll let that pass. But when you're giving up RBIs and specifically home runs, it kills it, And again, we saw Bizzardo, Ferrer, and Randy fuck up in game 1, but he was already fucking up before that, And it's just crazy to see how good Wu and Bizzardo were last year and how much they've dropped off, And again, it's just, you hope they get better, but sometimes you can be really good in 1 year and just really fall off the face of the earth the next. And that's what we've gotten out of Wu and Bizzardo this year, which is kind of shocking, but again, that's baseball. 1-2 pitch. In there for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Jeffers. Pitch fouled off there with the sweeper. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball. Deep left field. Thank God that goes foul. I mean, they already gave up a 2-run jack. And it's not like the Mariners score 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits often. Normally we scored 0 to 3. And we just have to be blessed that Cal hit that 3-run jack, because if he didn't, and we're only up 3-0 and it's 3-2, we could potentially lose. So we have to be very thankful that Cal, made us look good here on the channel today with the prediction. But, Bizzardo, God, what happened to you, my guy? Little flip from Bizzardo to Naylor, toe tap on the bag, and finally we get an out. And that is 1 away on Jeffers. Yeah, Ferrer is warming up in the pen, but I don't trust him either. Ferrer has a hard time hitting the strike zone. Likes to pitch high and away, low and away, and inside. And again, if you have a hard time painting the corners, it's hard for me to trust you. And has there been times where they've looked amazing? Yes, there has been times where Bizzardo, Ferrer, and Spire have looked amazing. But if you go back to even, in the World Baseball Classic for Spire and spring training at the beginning of the year, he could get 1 out, Spire, and then he would give up a home run, or a big RBI. And Bell with a hard hit ball, deep right field. Wow, dropped ball by Robles. Jesus Christ. And now the meltdown continues. And again, this is why, it's so important. Sir Anthony Dominguez, getting Vargas back, getting Criswell back, and especially the guy that we've been missing the most is Brash, because he's normally our number 1 or number 2 guy. And not having Brash has really hurt the Mariners bullpen. And Robles had to cover a lot of ground there, and it goes right outside the mitt, kind of like the Larnach play earlier today, but that was in left field. And then now you got Bell at second base with the double. And we just have to be happy that Cal hit that 3-run jack, because if he doesn't, we potentially could lose this game. And now Bizzardo is exiting. And that's 5 games out of 6 that he's had meltdowns. And not just singles and doubles, RBIs and home runs. And I hope I don't see a whole lot of Bizzardo the rest of the year. I don't got a lot of confidence in him. All right, next up is Cody Clemens. So they finally get him out of the game, thankfully. But now they have a runner at second with 1 out, and hopefully Ferrer won't have a same meltdown as Bizzardo. So, and Ferrer is a little bit more trouble than Bizzardo, but not by much, at least in my opinion, based on how I've been watching. But again, everyone's opinion is going to be based on how much are you watching. Some people watch occasionally, some people are bandwagon fans, and then you got us as fanatics that are watching every pitch on every fucking game. So nothing really gets past us here, considering we're watching everything. So, but I'm hoping Jose Ferrer won't have a meltdown like Bizzardo did. But man, I don't think I've seen a bad stretch out of a really good bullpen pitcher from last year like Bizzardo this year. 5 meltdowns out of 6, and not good. And most of those meltdowns have turned into losses, but I don't think it'll turn into a loss today since we're still up by 4, hopefully. Next up, 0 for 3 is Cody Clemens, and we got Jose Ferrer coming in. And I think the trade, for Ferrer and Harry Ford worked out. We won that trade. Harry Ford got sent to AAA, was really struggling, didn't even hit his first home run till like a month ago. But I know a lot of us were kind of hoping that Ford could be the backup to Cal. But obviously they had, Pareda and, obviously Garver, and we had other options at another signing as well. So, that we ended up letting go. So it's like, and also we thought maybe Ben Williamson would be on the team a little bit longer as well. But sometimes you have certain hopes and dreams for guys in the farm, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be here forever. But I'm glad they finally got Bizzardo out of there. But it's definitely the worst stretch Bizzardo has had in the last couple of years. And if you remember, couple years ago, Bizzardo was second worst in the bullpen with Taylor Saucedo, the Seattle native. And we got rid of him, and Bizzardo was fucking terrible. And then Bizzardo improved last year to being our best with Brash, but now is kind of going back to his old ways, at least in his last 6 opportunities. And it makes me nervous when I see him on the field because it just feels like he doesn't have the confidence. And if you don't believe in yourself, you're probably not going to pitch very well either. And 5 out of 6 kind of proves that point. 1-0 pitch, fouls that one off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at second and 1 out. Top of the 8th, 6-2 Seattle. And we've already had a lot of fuck-ups this year. The last thing that we can afford is our bullpen blowing games after we've actually played well, and it's not like we get to 5-6 runs often. And the last thing that we need is a meltdown and lose 7-6, right? It's like we've already gone through enough fucking losses for this year and next year already, and injuries. I don't want to see, any more. And we just had JP and Luke go to the injured list, and we're still waiting on Donnie, who's only played the first month and a half. It's not been, a good year. Really the only bright spot has been Cole Young, but, as well as maybe, Miller and Hancock, at least early on, but they've come down to earth. So. And I'm really happy that Mooney turned it around as well. Mooney was in a very bad spot at the beginning of the year. Bottom 5, bottom 10 closer after being top 5, top 10. And I didn't know if he was going to turn it around, but thankfully he did. And we're going to need him. 1-2 pitch. High and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cody Clemens. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off, low and away. Sinker 97 miles an hour. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. And fading out of play again. Sinker 97 miles an hour. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second. Josh Bell with 1 out. Top of the 8th. 6-2 Seattle. Got to find a way to win this game, baby. Luis is the worst pitcher on the team. As far as starters are concerned. Nobody's comparing a starter to a bullpen guy. Come on, my guy. Nobody else on the team has got a 3-9 record and ERA of 5.06. And plus, when you're making $20+ million a year and you're the worst starter, you can't keep a player like that, especially if we're trying to advance further, based on having a rough year. It's either baseball or you don't. And clearly you don't. You can still have Castillo as like one of your fan favorites, but he was holding the team back. And every year besides 2022, when we first got him, he was great from the Reds. But every year after that, he was kind of trending downwards, stats and analytically. And Clemens ends up getting a single to the shortstop. Come on, guys. Top of the 8th, runners at first and second with 1 out. Now we need a double play. We haven't asked for a double play all day. Sports Gods ended up delivering on the Cal Raleigh home run, and I don't ask for a whole lot during the streams. Can we get a double play by Royce Lewis right up the middle to either Cole Young or Colt Emerson? A nice, easy throw to Josh Naylor, and then we can get out of this inning not fully unscathed, but still up by 4. Let's see if the Sports Gods will listen. First pitch is low and at the knees. Change up missing there. 1-0 count. Yeah. One-0 pitch. Julio's back at deep center field. And gone. Jesus Christ. And Jose Ferrer also having a meltdown, just like Bizzardo did in game number 1. Randy was the finishing piece, and now the game is 6-5. See, this is the shit that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Jose Ferrer, not trustworthy. Eduard Bizzardo, not trustworthy. Bro, we were up 6-0. It's 6-5 now. And this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. Again, we have to get rid of weak links. And Brash, Criswell, and Vargas, they can't come back soon enough. And we got to hope that Sir Anthony Dominguez can be better than Ferrer and Bizzardo. Because, again, there's a reason why we need bullpen help. If we have to trade away Hancock or Randy or Kirby to get Mason Miller, we might need to, if this type of shit fucking keeps happening. Unbelievable. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse after Bizzardo's fucking meltdown, now you get Ferrer having one. Just like in game 1 versus the Twins. Both guys had meltdowns, right? And then Randy had a meltdown by not hustling in left field. And instead of 1 run scoring 2, and, I want to win this game. I don't want to lose 7-6. I mean, let's go. My God. 0-2 pitch. And I guess the sports gods didn't want to listen. All I wanted is a double play, and the sports god said, screw you. 3-run blast. We're going to show you that your bullpen stinks. 5 runs. Unacceptable. They were at 0 all game, and then Bizzardo and Ferrer came in. Should have just had George Kirby pitch until his arm fell off. Probably would still be up 6-0 right now. Pitch fouled off there by Brooks Lee. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 8, 6-5 Mariners. And again, Cal Raleigh doesn't hit that 3-run blast. Guess what? We lose this game. 100%. You know, because at this point, if we're down 5-3 and we only have 2 innings to go, how often are we coming back in that situation? You know, once in a blue moon, you know. And Lee strikes out swinging. And that is 2 away. Now, Austin Martin coming in. And again, just like I mentioned before they came in, I don't trust either one. And there's a reason why. All right, Austin Martin coming in. This should be hopefully an easy out. First pitch right down the middle for a strike with a sinker. And again, with the Seattle Mariners in 2026, it's not been fucking easy for anything. Pitching, bullpen, defense, hitting, stealing bags, running the bases, hustle, lack of bunting, idiot manager, idiot GM. You know, it's like so many things, you know, have not gone our way. But with that being said, the American League stinks. The AL West stinks. And even though we've had everything go sideways, you know, we could still end up, you know, doing good things. And finally, we get out number 3 there on Austin Martin. But not after giving up big plays. When you're up 6-0, Warnock with a 2-run jack, and then Lewis with a 3-run jack. Oh, yeah. But we have to be thankful, right? The Cal Raleigh home run was predicted. It came true, and thankfully it did because we're still up by 1. But now we might need to be able to add on like at least 1 more run. If we can get it to 7-5, depending on if Mooney comes in, you know, or Spire or whoever they decide to come in the game, we don't want to lose a game like this. It would be really demoralizing right before the trade deadline to have a 6-0 lead and then all of a sudden lose 7-6. You know, the whole state of the Mariner fan base would be in disarray, you know. And again, it just shows you, you know, what we're good at and what we improve on. And obviously, starting pitching, we got rid of our weak link, Castillo. We got Sir Anthony Dominguez to hopefully shore up a little bit of the bullpen. But again, with injuries to Brash, Criswell, and Vargas have killed us this year more than anybody else missing games, even Brandon Donovan. And, you know, we may need to try, you know, to get a Mason Miller type if this kind of shit continues. But again, the trade deadline is tomorrow afternoon. And I don't know if the Mariner organization would be willing to give up, you know, Randy or Kirby or Hancock. And I assume if Mason Miller would be given up, we would probably have to give up Kirby. And I don't know if I'd be willing to do that, you know. But again, bullpen. But again, there's another solution. Bring up Cade Anderson, right? He's fucking lights out. Just because he hasn't played in AAA doesn't mean he can't, you know, be an asset to the team. And that could be an option to help shore up the bullpen. But is the Mariner organization smart enough to bring him up to help? Or are they going to be stubborn and try to wait till next year? And, you know, we know the Mariner organization a lot of times doesn't really do the right thing. So. All right, next up is Leo Rivas. Drop a bunt down, Leo. AJ Minter on the mound. First pitch in there for a strike, high and away. 0-1 count. Got to try to make up for that meltdown. Thankfully, we still have a lead. Normally, when teams score 5 on us in 1 inning, we're down 9, not 10 times. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees with a cutter, 89 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Minter to Rivas. I still think that we're going to win this game, so. We can point out, what's going on, but you got to stay positive. Line drive from Lee and caught. Right place and right time for Lee, and that is 1 away. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And again, we still have a good opportunity to add on a run for insurance, whether it's for Spire or for Mooney. And I still think that we can win this game 6-5 or 7-5. We just got to be able to be as positive as possible. Call out the people that need to be called out and then move forward. Next up is Cole Clutch Young, 3 for 4. Let's see if he can go 4 for 5 like Ichiro. First pitch in the Cole Clutch Young, in there for a strike, 0-1 count. We got this. We're still going to win this game. But very concerning, with 2 of our top 3 bullpen guys with Spire in that mix with Ferrer and Bizzardo not playing to our standard. And not only not playing to our standard, but like having the biggest meltdown of meltdowns. 0-1 pitch fouled off into foul territory right behind the dugout there. No ball, 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 6-5 Mariners. We can get something special here out of Cole Young. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Let's go, Cole. I wouldn't mind an unexpected home run in this inning as well. 0-2 pitch. Hard hit ball. And Cole Young going 4 for 5 like Ichiro. My God. Build a statue for him already. Let's go. Let's go. When's the last time we had a player go 4 for 5, not named Ichiro? Wow. Incredible. And again, he's only in his 2nd year, and he's only going to get better and better and better. Once he starts hitting 270 to 300, no one will be better in the MLB at second base than him. Incredible. I know Ernie Clement and Ozzie Albies are good, but give me Cole Young all day and every day. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Unbelievable day. Great job, Cole. They don't call him Cole Clutch Young for nothing. First pitch low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Come on, Randy. Dominic Canzone on deck. We've had to face a lot of adversity this season. Today's game is another adversity type of situation, but again, we're good enough to respond and win this game. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Throw it up first, and the fans boo as it goes to Cole, and he is safe. And again, it's like we've had a hard time even getting 2 hits for our players, let alone someone going 4 for 5. It's incredible. And I do believe, after this season, Cole Young's jersey will be the one that's promoted the most, besides probably Colt Emerson, just because both of them are young and well-deserved. And then after that, I believe it will be Cade Anderson, once he gets called up on the team. And I think that jersey will sell. And again, he'll be a big, big fan favorite, especially if he can play to the ability that I know that he can. We got a bright future with a lot of our young stars, Young, Emerson, and Anderson. And, those will be the 3 next jerseys I end up getting whenever that might be. But, they haven't really made too many jerseys yet of even Young and Emerson. They only have screen print so far. But after this season, I better see a lot of Cole Young jerseys in the Seattle Mariner team shop, baby. Every color, every size, stitching, screen print, all of them. 1-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. And again, to become a fan favorite, what is it about? Attitude, right? Consistency, and the ability to play, offense and defense never hurts. Just like Julio Rodriguez, And again, we got our Julio in the infield, and it is Cole Clutch Young. 1-2 pitch. Randy with a hit up the middle. Let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Way to respond after giving up 5 runs. And hey, Randy might be a liability in left, but he sure as hell can hit. And if you put him at DH, it solves all of our problems of us bitching and moaning about that shit D in left field. But Randy, he sure as hell can hit. Great job, Randy Arozarena. I see you. And again, if you've noticed, shifting the batting order with Cole lead off and Randy at second has really made a difference in the lineup as of late. getting those extra at-bats at the end of the game instead of, some guys getting 4. If you end up getting in the first 2 positions, 1 and 2, sometimes you get 5. And you want to make sure you have your 2 best hitters that you believe in, to get those extra hits. And again, Young and Arosarena, I see you. I appreciate you. Next up is Dominic Canzone. And then on deck, the guy that could end up opening this game up is Julio Rodriguez, another guy that could end up having a game where he goes 3 for 4. He's 2 for 3 today. But Cole Young, 4 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Beautiful. This would be a great time for a Dom bomb. What do you say? 3-run jack by Dom, making it 9-5, and then we can just put this 5-run ass whooping that we just took to bed, right? Bizzardo, you stink. Ferrer, you stink. But Cole Young and Randy sure as hell don't. And let's see if Dom and Julio can win the game for us here. Let's go, Dom. See if the Italian Stallion can find a way to get a single, double, triple, or home run, or even a walk. Hit by pitch as long as he doesn't get hurt. 1-0 pitch, hit up the middle. Run, 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 run! And Young is at third. And fielder's choice there. Runners at first and third now for Julio Rodriguez. We weren't able to get the Dom bomb, but Julio obviously having as good of a day, as close as to anybody as Cole Young today. And let's see if Julio can go 3 for 4 and he can potentially get an RBI or a home run. Let's go, J-Rod. Couldn't get the Dom bomb to convert, but at least it moved Cole to third. And let's see if we can get that one extra run that we're going to need more than likely in the ninth. Come on, Julio. First pitch to Julio popped up and out of play. 0-1 count. Try heads up. Let's go, M's. Let's go, Julio. We need you. Single, double, triple, home run, walk, whatever. Just keep the game going. 0-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. And even just a single to let Young score is huge. Because again, if we end up bringing in Mooney or Spire, they're going to do a lot better confidence-wise up 2 rather than 1. And we know with Mooney only being up 1 or tied, sometimes he blows it, even though he's, been pretty good. But if we have a 2-run lead, we win 99.999% of the time with a 2-run lead in the ninth. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 4-seam fastball, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Minter to Julio Rodriguez. Let's win it for Paisley. I haven't checked Cash App or Venmo, but I haven't heard anyone mention anything in the chat. So 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Let him know. 354 in the room. We should easily be able to get to 200 likes with that many people in the room. Bottom of the 8th, runners on the corners at first and third with 2 outs. 6-5 Mariners. Mariners were up 6-0. Twins had a 5-run inning. Meltdowns by Bizzardo. 2-run jack given up. Ferrer comes in and gives up a 3-run bomb. And then all of a sudden we're nervous. But it doesn't mean that the game is over yet. We still feel that we can win this game. Just the way that the Mariners season has gone today. It's kind of a retrospect and an overlook of, how things have gone in 2026 for Seattle. It's, been a grind, just to be able to get wins. It's always had to been so difficult. Trade deadline is tomorrow afternoon, and we will see how many more moves the Mariners make. We need a right-handed bat or 2, and we need bullpen pitching. 2-2 pitch from Minter to Julio. Come on, J-Rod. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Julio cannot come up with a big RBI. So the Mariners hang on to a 1-run lead, and Andres Munoz has to pitch well. Again, we'll know how good Mooney is first 7 pitches. And if he's lights out, we're going to win 6-5. If not, we might have to try to win 7-6 in extras, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. Kirby was amazing. Kirby gave up nothing. All the runs came in the 8th inning by Bizzardo and Ferrer. Kirby, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 94 pitches, 62 strikes, 3.76 ERA. And again, Kirby's been up and down this year, but again, with his name in the headlines of potentially getting moved, he proved that he is a top 2 pitcher on the team with Logan Gilbert, and great job there by George Kirby. All right, here we go. Let's see who's up next. Top of the 9th inning in the 8 hole, 1 for 2. No, 1 for 3. Center fielder Luke Keeschel. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a run, shortstop Ryan Kreidler. And batting third, 1 for 4 with a run, 2 RBIs and 2 Ks. Did have a 2-run jack when we were up 6-0 to make it 6-2, Trevor Larnach. Trident's up. Let's go M's. We're at 24,500 subs, 100 to get 24,600. I believe we're at 45 on the Dono train. If there's anything on Cash App or Venmo and I haven't mentioned it, I haven't looked in a moment, so I apologize. And then let's take a look. We're at 137 on the likes. We should get to 200 before this is over if we get support. 63 to 200, and we got 338 in the room. J-Rod Scrod with an autographed bat for a kid. Unbelievable. That's awesome. And we know Julio ends up trading autographs, for candy and whatnot. But to be able to get a bat to a girl in center field, and again, like that's going to be a fan for life and some. Maybe everyone in their family after that. What a great gesture. And we've also seen Naylor give away cleats with the box autoed as well. So, again, it's just great to be able to see that we have really good people on and off the field that really want to make a difference in these fans' lives, whether they're young or they're old. Awesome. Autographed bat in center field. Are you kidding? I've never seen that before. First pitch is low and away. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Hard hit ball. Deep right field. Back, and gone. And Mooney gives up a home run. Oh, my God. Yikes. Keeschel with the solo dinger, and we're tied at 6. My goodness. We're going to have to try to win this game 7-6, and hopefully we're not down, obviously, at this point. But now the game is tied. And, again, you're going to know how good Mooney is within the first 7 pitches. Second pitch ends up giving up a home run. Not good. And, again, the bullpen shitting the bed after Kirby having an electric day, giving up nothing, and now the bullpen has given up 6 runs in the last 1.5 innings. Oh my God, this team, we need bullpen help. My goodness. I mean, at this point, maybe we need to get Mason Miller or try to do what we can. Next up is Victor Caratini, the former Astro. First pitch is outside, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, fouls it off himself with the slider, 87 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Mooney to Caratini. And like I mentioned, if Cal Raleigh doesn't hit that 3-run home run that we predicted here, we lose this game 100%. There's just no way that we're going to score, more than likely 2-3 runs, in the 8th and the 9th or possibly more. But we got to hope that they're done after that home run. We just got to hope that we can end up getting a strikeout and a double play or, a pop up and a ground out. We got to keep this game at 6 and walk it off 7-6 in the bottom of the 9th like yesterday. 1-1 pitch. In there for a strike, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Mooney to Caratini. And Mooney was lights out for about 12, 13 starts, but lately, within the last couple, he's been giving up runs. And again, we still have been able to win some of those games, but it's kind of scary. Starting to go back to his old ways. 1-2 pitch, big, swing and a miss, and we finally get a punch out, and that is 1 away. But again, if we can get through this year, we can get through anything. I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But man, they are really testing our patience this year as fans, aren't they? Kirby goes lights out and gives up a 0, and then all of a sudden this happens. Go figure. Come on, Mooney. First pitch from Munoz to Larnach, low, and at the knees, 1-0 count. I mean, we already had meltdowns by Bizzardo and Ferrer. I mean, is it really fair to have Mooney have one also? 3 meltdowns in one game by our bullpen after Kirby got the team to 0. This team is so unpredictable. 1-1 pitch. Little dribbler up the middle. Get that! Can't even get that play. Emerson and Young diving and not being able to get to the ball, and a single there for Larnach. And we need a double play now. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But man, this is, like, again, the most challenging year I have ever been, a part of or watched in the last 40 years. I mean, this team has got talent, obviously, like last year's team. And obviously we know the 2001 team, ended up winning close to, not 120, but, obviously 116 is insane. And we're never going to probably be in that category, but again, it's like, can we get some consistency, please? Too much talent on this team to keep blowing games like this. Next up is Ryan Jeffers. First pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1 count. And if we ever needed a double play in life, it's like right now. Slow dribbler up the middle to Colt Emerson or Cole Young. Nice soft throw to Naylor. Get out of the inning. And we still have a 6-6 tie. And then we win 7-6, obviously in the bottom of the ninth or in extras. Preferably in the ninth if we can. But again, based on how this game is going, we might have to win in 10, 11, or 12 if we can't get it done in the bottom of the ninth, depending on who's batting next. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Mooney to Jeffers. 1-1 pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first with 1 out. Top of the ninth inning, 6-6, Mariners and Twins, after the Mariners had a 6-0 lead going into the 8th and then gave up 5, 2-run jack off Bizzardo, 3-run jack off Ferrer, and a solo dinger off Mooney. Ridiculous. Got to give Twins a lot of credit, but, bullpen, what can you say? It's going to win you or lose you more games than any other position group, and they are really testing our patience today. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Mooney to Jeffers. 2-2 pitch, check swing. Did he go? And he does not. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Mooney to Jeffers. Three-two pitch and a ball. Oh my God. And again, first 7 pitches, not good. It's bad enough that Bizzardo had a meltdown 5 out of the last 6 opportunities. Then Ferrer comes in and shits the bed. And now Mooney comes in and shits the bed. And now we have runners at first and second with 1 out. And again, we need a double play. We need to find a way. And now we're going to have Woodworth and the whole team get around Mooney, who has been struggling in his last couple outings, giving up a run. And most of those recent outings, even though we've been able to win. But again, that's why it's so important that you have a 2-run lead with Mooney on the mound, because again, if the game is tied or you only have a 1-run lead, sometimes he can't do it, and today's another example of that. We definitely needed that extra run for insurance. And when we have a 2-run lead, with Mooney, 99% of the time we're going to win. But if it's only a 1-run lead or we're tied, there is a chance that we could lose. So now we got Josh Bell in the box, and we got to just get a fucking double play or find a way to get these last 2 outs. Come on. No, Sir Anthony is not available tonight. Little dribbler towards first and foul. And even though Sir Anthony's ERA is 4, at least it gives us someone that we can replace a AAA guy with and hope that he can overachieve and be a little bit better than he was with the White Sox. But we definitely need bullpen help. I mean, again, Mason Miller, come to the Mariners, please. 0-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. And it's crazy that Ty France has had like a resurgence in his career, a rebirth. He's actually one of the best players in San Diego this season. But we already have Josh Naylor at first, so. But we could use Mason Miller. That's for damn sure. 0-2 pitch. Low and away. Mooney having a hard time hitting the corners of the strike zone. One ball, 2 strikes. Runners at first and second with 1 out. We're tied at 6. Come on, Mooney. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, but he gets them. And that is 2 away. Lazy swing there by Bell. All right, Cody Clemens is next. Roger Clemens' son. And let's see if we can get Cody out. 1 for 4 with a run with runners at first and second. Let's get this last out and try to walk off in the bottom of the 9th. First pitch, slow dribbler behind the plate towards the T-Mobile bricks, 0-1 count. Top of the 9th inning, runners at first and second with 2 outs. Kirby pitching a gem, giving up 0 runs and had a 6-0 lead. And then we've given up 6 runs, 5 in the 8th, and already a solo dinger here in the 9th off Mooney. Not good, but I still think we can win 7-6. Never as easy for us here in 2026. It's always a battle. It's always a war. You know, it's always like this up and down, peaks and valleys of joy and misery with this team this year. But that doesn't mean that we can't come out on top even after getting rattled here in the 8th and the 9th. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Nasty changeup low and away, getting Clemens to chase. And we are 1 strike away from getting out of this log jam, so to speak. And hopefully we can end up having the right 3 batters in the bottom of the 9th to walk off like we did with Randy, scoring behind the catcher yesterday in victory. Come on, Mooney. Get this last out. Got a Mooney fan there in a crowd, little girl holding his jersey up. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Andres Munoz to Cody Clemens. Runners at first and second with 2 outs, top of the 9th, tied at 6. And again, I haven't seen too many meltdowns like this. We did have one against the Padres in San Diego at the beginning of the year that you remember, but I don't think that game will end out like the same way like this one. Wild pitch, runners don't advance. Thankfully, Cal Raleigh gets to that ball in time, so runners don't go to second and third. That would have been a nightmare. Cal tried to scoop it and ended up bouncing off the chest protector, but good awareness and hustle to get to the ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes, runners at first and second with 2 outs. Can we just get this last out, please? Two pitch, popped up. Please stay in play. Yes, Randy is there, and it's not a ground ball. Hallelujah, out number 3. That would have been a ground ball for Randy. We lose this game. All right, this has not gone the way that we thought, having a 6-0 lead in the 8th. But again, we can win this game. You know, it's been ugly, you know, but again, we got to make up for the inability of our bullpen. Bizzardo, trash. Ferrer, trash. Mooney today, trash. But again, they gave up 6 runs in the 8th and the 9th combined, but that doesn't mean that we can't win the game. And let's see who we have up to win the game for the Mariners. Next up here for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a base on ball, Josh Naylor, who ended up getting our first RBI, obviously earlier today. Let's see if he can get it done again. Batting second, 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs, who had that 3-run jack that we predicted here on the channel. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. You know, maybe we get a walk-off homer by Cal. And batting third, 0 for 4 with a K, right fielder Victor Robles. And this would be a good time to bring in Luke Raley, but he's injured, so we don't have access to him, but maybe Victor can provide some magic as well. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Gained a few more subs during the commercial break. 98 to go to 24,600. 502 to 25,000. Or 498 to 25,000. And we're at 152 likes with 423. Let's see if we can get to 200 before the game is over. We only need 4 people to hit the like button out of 425, and we'll be at 200, which would be great. So Rayleigh and JP are on the injured list. All right, Mariner Moose. We need to call on some of that Soto mojo and that Mariner magic. And Randy came up big, sliding home behind the catcher yesterday. And we're going to need a few individuals to step up here today. Josh Naylor in the box. On deck is Cal Raleigh. And obviously a walk-off home run by Naylor or Cal would be fantastic. Gomez on the mound here for the Twins. First pitch into Josh Naylor is in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Takes another strike right down the middle. Change up there by Gomez. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 9th inning, 6-6, Mariners and Twins. 0-2 pitch. Check swing, did he go? No, he didn't. Sweeper, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 9th inning. Gomez on the mound. Josh Naylor in the box. Come on, Josh. 1-2 pitch. Naylor with a slow dribbler towards first and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gomez to Naylor. It sure is all day, and again, we've had so much adversity, poor pitching, poor bullpen, lack of hitting, lack of defense, brain dead manager, shitty GM, just so many things, lack of good base running and hustle for some guys, but with all the crazy things, that we have with this team, again, there is a lot of positives. We just got to be able to battle through a lot of this adversity, and we probably have had more adversity this year in the last 10 years combined. And, we have a lot of talent, but again, you got to be able to put it together. Pitch fouled off there, low and away. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball missing by Gomez. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gomez to Naylor. Naylor is in the box, not Cal Raleigh. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball by Naylor. Yes, let's go. And it drops right in front of the right fielder. Let's go. Great job by Josh getting it started. Nice job by Josh Naylor. All right, here we go. Next up is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. See if we can end up walking it off here with the big dumper. He already has a home run today, a 3-run blast. Let's go. Come on, Cal. Great job by Naylor in a very stressful situation. First pitch to Cal, high and away. 1-0 count. We need some good patient at-bats here as well. I mean, hell, I don't mind if we end up getting bases loaded and then they walk the batter and then we get that runner to come home from third and we win, Any way that we can find a way to victory. 1-0 pitch from Gomez. Low and at the knees, but called strike. 4-seam fastball on the line, supposedly. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gomez to Raleigh. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. We just got to be as positive as possible. 1-1 pitch. Low and away. Good take there by Cal Raleigh. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first. Josh Naylor with no outs. Bottom of the 9th inning, 6-6, Mariners and Twins. George Kirby had the game at 6-0 when he exited. Bizzardo, Ferrer, and Mooney all gave up home runs, and that's where we're sitting at a 6-6 tie. 2-1 pitch. High and away. Beautiful take there by Cal. And they are challenging. This looks outside to me, though. I don't think the Twins are going to win this. And it is. Terrible challenge by Minnesota, but we'll take it. Count now is 3 balls, 1 strike to big dumper Cal Raleigh. And obviously Cal can end up, hitting home runs off a 3-0 and a 3-1. But again, even if he takes the walk, just keep this game going unless you can walk it off and then game over. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 3-1 pitch from Gomez to big dumper. Takes a strike right down the middle. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at first with no outs. Come on, Cal. Take the walk if it's there, but if it's right down the middle, go for the moon. 3-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Cal, unfortunately, and that is 1 away. He was going for the moon. and some. Next up in the 7-hole, right fielder Victor Robles. On deck is Colt Emerson. If somehow, some way we can get to Cole Young, we're going to win the game, but can we get there? We're a few batters away from him. And Cole is 4 for 5 today. Come on, Victor. First pitch to Victor Robles. And there for a strike. 0-1 count. Cutter 93 miles an hour there by Gomez. Oh, 1 pitch. And Robles with a bloop single in center. Let's go! Unbelievable. And we know Robles and Naylor's going for 3. Safe. I don't know if Naylor has injured himself diving headfirst to third, but he's down. And I think he's okay. Holy hell. Naylor really going for it. You know he's a big boy. And again, just going crazy going to third. And he went head first and dove probably a foot too soon and face planted about a foot before the third base bag. Body kind of went, in a weird direction. And obviously he's going to have I'm not going to say he's concussed, but man, he really hit the dirt with his chin hard there. He did not time that really correctly, but I hope he's okay. He is safe at third, but obviously he's going to feel that in the morning. Holy hell. Wow. And again, the pressure to get to third, and he just mistimed, the dive to first. Probably could have went feet first, but went head first and kind of slipped. And looks like he's okay. I don't see any blood coming out, thank God. But he face planted, And Naylor is okay. Naylor is tough as nails. All right, we're going to have a pinch runner for Naylor. So again, obviously hit himself hard, but potentially could be the difference between winning the game based off his effort instead of just staying at second and being comfortable with that. Robles doesn't get hits very often, right? And Naylor exits the game. And hopefully, that ends up giving us that, momentum and that juice to win this game now. Next up is Colt Emerson. Let's see if Colt can be a hero. And Victor, under all of those strange circumstances, ended up getting to second base rather than first. So now we have runners at second and third instead of at first and third. So a lot harder to get the double play, and then also a better chance for us to win 7-6 here. Let's see if Colt Emerson can get the job done. Come on, Colt. Come on, Colt. Runners at second, third, and 1 out. Gomez on the mound, Emerson in the box. First pitch, low and at the knees. 1-0 count. On deck is Leo Rivas, and after that is Cole Young. And Cole Young's 4 for 5 today. He's the most reliable hitter in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So if we can get to him, unless we can win it before time and before him. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gomez to Emerson. Come on, Colt. Just a single, to score the runner from third, and we win 7-6. Let's go. Obviously, a home run would just be for the dramatic. 1-1 pitch. And Emerson pops up into left. Ends up going behind the plate and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at second and third and 1 out. Bottom of the 9th, 6-6. Twins and Mariners. Let's go. Yeah, he's in the dugout. He had to exit the game. That shows you how hard he face planted, kind of mistiming the slide with his head, and then his body kind of flipped over. Hard hit ball towards first. Let's go. Let's go. And that's the game. Colt Emerson single to right. Game-winning RBI by our guy, the phenom, Colt Emerson. Game winner. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. Let's go. Let's go. You did, Sean. Let's go. Big base knock. Colt Emerson. And again, we know that he's had some troubles, not being as patient in the box. But Colt gets the job done. And again, the Phenom is just going to get better and better with more at-bats in this game. Great job. And we were able to get something off Gomez yesterday, and we were able to get that big play here today. And if Josh Naylor doesn't do what he does, sacrifice his body, trying to get to third, maybe we don't win this game 7-6. And again, dramatic victories yesterday and today. We got the day off tomorrow, and we'll see who we end up getting at the trade deadline. But great job by Colt Emerson. Unbelievable. Let's go. Amazing. I mean, we were up 6-0, right? And then we gave up home runs with Bizardo, 2-run jack, Ferrer, 3-run bomb, solo dinger by Mooney, and then all of a sudden the game is 6-6. But we found a way to fight the adversity, and we ended up winning 7-6. It wasn't pretty, but we got the job done. And that's what it's about, being a Seattle Mariner fan. It's not always going to be pretty. It's going to be a lot of misery and pain, but there also is going to be times of joy. All right, let's go over the stat line here for both teams like we do every game. Wow. All right, Trevor Larnach, 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a home run. Ryan Jeffers, 1 for 4. Josh Bell, 2 for 5 with a run. Cody Clemens, 1 for 5 with a run. Royce Lewis, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a home run. Brooks Lee, 0 for 4, which is rare. Alan Rowden, 1 for 2. Luke Keeschel, 2 for 4 with a home run and an RBI. And Ryan Kreidler, 0 for 3. All right, and let's go with the Mariners here. And I'm telling you, this player is getting better and better and better. And at some point, he might be recognized as the best player on the team. And that's really saying something when you got guys like Randy and Julio and Cal and Naylor and Dom and Rayleigh on the team. Cole Young, 4 for 5 with a run and an RBI. We haven't seen numbers like that since Ichiro. Amazing. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 4 with a run. Dominic Canzone, 1 for 5 with a run. Julio Rodriguez, 2 for 4 with a run. You see a theme here? Josh Naylor, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Cal Raleigh, 1 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a 3-run jack that we predicted here on the channel. Victor Robles, 1 for 5. And then Colt Emerson, predicted by Sean, little bloop single there into right, scoring the runner from third. And if it wasn't for Josh Naylor sacrificing his chin and his head, kind of mistiming, that dive to third base, maybe we don't win this game. Amazing. And then obviously Leo Rivas getting a chance to play for Weston Wilson, but the same result, 0 for 3. And on top of that, George Kirby, might have been able to solidify himself as a Mariner. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 94 pitches, 62 strikes, 3.76 ERA. Even though Kirby, has been rumored, Randy has been rumored, Emerson Hancock has been rumored. But again, we will wait and see, how it all plays out. My goodness. First walk-off for Colt Emerson. Let's go, baby. And again, we have such a great youth movement. Cole Young, Colt Emerson in the future, Cade Anderson and Ryan Sloan as pitchers, Lazaro Montez. We have Ace, our first-round draft pick, Michael Arroyo. This team is special. And again, a very nerve-wracking game, but we got the job done. And again, 6-0 leads normally hold up, but I guess for the Seattle Mariners in 2026, they like to test our patience. But I'm really happy that we were able to get a victory. We got the day off tomorrow. Make sure you guys are checking your phones and the internet for the deadline. That's going to be tomorrow afternoon. There may be trades this evening or tomorrow morning. And obviously, if there's something big, obviously I'll be posting on socials. And then we'll be back on Tuesday live against the Tigers. And again, hopefully the team looks the way that we want at that point, and then hopefully we can bring our best foot forward against the Detroit Tigers. And obviously we know Scooball went to the Dodgers, so we don't got to worry about him, and we just got to take it one game at a time. Appreciate every single one of you. Final score 7-6, Seattle with the big victory in the bottom of the ninth, just like yesterday. And I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to our female audience, our regulars, our mods, and everyone that is supporting the channel. I appreciate you. And I got one question for you. Well, Talk Sports Like Us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Final score, Mariners 7, Twins 6. Tridents up, and go Mariners.